Hello, everybody, and good morning. Welcome to the Rise and Race Morning Show presented by Honda. My name is Aya.
And I'm Jack.
And it is such a nice day outside.
It is. It's nice. It's pretty. Not too cold. Nice and sunny.
Yeah.
We are ready to rise and race.
Flowers are blooming. We certainly are ready to rise and race. But we are going to start off every morning like we always do, Jack, with the menu and what we will be eating today.
Yeah, it's the most important meal of the day, and we have some savory bowls as well as our usual sausage eggs, this time with some avocado, kale, breakfast potatoes, mini pancakes, overnight oats, and, of course, the fresh fruit.
And then for lunch, we've got a Philly roast pork sandwiches. So we find this stuff out at the same time you guys do, so it's a surprise for us also. It's fun finding out along you guys. Kettle chips and a side salad.
Delicious. Now we got a pot roast for dinner, one of my favorites, with a whipped Yukon Gold potatoes, some dinner veggies, and dinner rolls.
I am very excited for lunch and dinner, Jack.
I always am. I'm excited for every meal.
Yeah.
I already had breakfast as well, so I was ready to go.
What'd you grab?
I grabbed the usual sort of bacon, which is extra crispy. She actually sorted the section between extra crispy and then floppy. You know, some people like the floppy.
Wait, really? I like floppy
really?
bacon.
Yeah. Extra crispy. I want the crunch in the morning.
I don't.
Had that with some eggs and fruit. I'm ready to go.
Yeah? No,
Fueled up.
I had one of her, when Mila made a smoothie. I was a fan of.
Oh yeah, I need to get some more of those.
Yeah, you gotta. I think she started putting like drink me signs on them because they're in like non-clear cups, and I think people didn't realize that they were smoothies or drinkable.
Oh, okay.
But it worked apparently.
Well, as long as they don't grow like larger or smaller as a result of drinking them, it'll be fine.
I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
We don't have long-term studies on that. It happened to Atlas?
Alice.
Okay. Yeah, I was like Atlas.
In Wonderland?
Yes. I knew that reference.
Ah, we're getting it early today.
That would be really bad if I didn't recognize that reference.
I would have been very concerned.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to get to our Honda MVP of the day, of course, presented by Honda, of course. And we had quite a few moments, I feel like, to sort through yesterday, but I'm fired up, and it is the Trash Ball Wizard. Fired up.
We'd love to be able to see it. The master of rolling up all the trash we have. I'm fired up. Helping, of course, on that Styx Bunk Junker kill with a world first that Liquid just had.
Yep. Here it is. Of course, we've got Bart's handy weak aura as well, kind of guiding the Raiders on where to go.
No. Oh, no. That's such a small thing, but it's so important to see this before you go into the fight yourself. Since, of course, you're not going to take any damage from the Scrapmaster landing once you're in trash form, but having that extra delay could be lethal if you're not able to reach any of the bombs in time or get back to the boss in time.
I'm really sorry, but could we watch that again with, I don't know if that's possible, I'm going to be annoying, but like if you go back and watch it, his face is like, he's like,
ooh.
Okay, watch his face. Watch
Can we
his
also
face.
add pinball sounds as well? Ding.
That'll be on the social media post later. Look at
Ding.
it. Look at it. Ooh.
Ding.
Ooh.
Ding.
Ooh. Oh, there we go. They got some in there.
Yeah. There we go.
Very nice. Oh, man. All right. Well, that, of course, is the Honda MVP of the day. Honda has a challenging spirit and believes that determination and self-belief, even in the face of adversity, can lead to the ultimate success. So we will be celebrating one of the Raiders every morning for the Honda MVP of the day. And congrats to Fired Up. This is a very prestigious award.
It is well-deserved.
Well-deserved indeed. Well, let's kind of talk about what exactly happened yesterday. Obviously, we were struggling on Styx Bunk Junker for a while. We thought maybe it would be a longer while, but we cut our night short because we ended up using the Vantis runes, and we're able to get it immediately after that.
That's right. And they really didn't want to use the Vantis runes if they could help it. Obviously, the week is about to wrap up since we are on Monday right now. But they did everything possible to avoid using the Vantis runes, dropping healers, adjusting their composition multiple different times, going from like 3 tanks down to 2. And then they said, well, now we just have to Vantis. This is going to be the last push for us to kill off the fight. They ripped the Vantis, and then, sure enough, they were able to kill the boss in short order.
Yeah, definitely. We can take a look at the clip. But before that, we also have some other guilds that did down Styx as well. Method and Echo are now right on our tails. So we can take a look at Method's world 3rd kill on Styx Bunk Junker.
lot with the encounter that they can have so much of the room filling up with some of the flames that are naturally happening with the garbage piles being lit up. Very interesting to see some of the monks even running with the Jade Empowerment talent just for extra damage. It does a little bit of healing through the Jade Fire teachings, but you don't empower it the way you would in a Mythic Plus environment. So it does a really huge amount of damage to its primary target, and he was actually casting it on those territorial bombshells since they have to be broken, I believe, below 75% or 80% health before they can actually move and be susceptible to crowd control. And as a result, they were able to break out those bombshells, get him into the melee meat grinder, and of course, kill off the boss.
Melee meat grinder. Look, you can see that he is as relieved as we were for this kill.
I mean, understandably so. That is a very, very tough encounter, much harder than we were really expecting to see for a fourth boss.
Yeah, most definitely. And Echo is just as surprised as well. We do have a clip of their kill for Styx Monk Junker. Let's check it out. Here's Screepe.
Oh my goodness.
I know, it's Scrape. Screepe is more fun to say. Kind of like Kalamazoo when he says gnome.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Kalamazoo.
Or that, yeah, Kalamazoo.
Yeah. You have a couple players left at the very end as the enrage is going out. A few players dropping down, and that kill is so close with just 5 players left alive. I love their POV. They can just kind of like look over and see each other through the little gaps in the monitors.
Yeah, but then you have to like scooch behind people like to get through it. Like it looks like it's like
I do wonder about that, of like how the layout is to move around.
Seems like a fire hazard, Echo.
Well, I feel like
worry about your players.
I would just like lean over and then just like make eye contact with one of the other people across from me and like psych them out.
Oh no, I mean to like get in and out of your desk.
No, I get that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it would just be worth it because you could just.
That's fair. Yeah, just
bug other people.
Hey, you. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, either way, it does looks cozy in there.
Yeah, when you're like bantering with your buddies, but now you're in person, so you can just make eye contact with them directly when you just say something to them.
That's true.
It's like, you'd never say that at LAN. They do.
I'll have you know, I wear the freshest clothes, whatever. I don't know. Start the copy pasta chat. You know what to do. Oh, wait. Well, we were mentioning it a little bit earlier, but of course, Team Liquid, they also downed Styx Monk Junker last night at, I believe, like 115 pulls after downing that Mantis rune, and we do have a replay of that kill from last night. Let's check it out.
No, spread out. Are we doing any like weird darkness? Yeah, get in melee here after your spreads. Dark here.
Ain't seen nothing yet.
Okay. One Moonkin picked only. There's a bomb really close to the boss. Get the hyenas. The hyenas are coming. No one's getting them. Okay. Spread now. Spread now.
I'm watching Nick, but no cocoon.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll get Sunny.
Okay.
Next to the boss still.
I get the bomb.
Watch your HP.
Okay.
Watch your HP and get kicks now. Get kicks now. Goop's gonna. Oh, that's fine. It's fine. Get kicks, boys. We're in a good spot. Okay, spread in 3, 2, 1, now. This is AMZ. Nice. Look at spawns here, everybody. Look at spawns. Okay. Look at your marker. Malarcus, KSP, Zevi. Okay, we're spreading in 5. Spreading in 3, 2, 1, now. There's a bomb close to the boss on Diamond. Communicate.
I'm doing it.
Okay. Okay, watch kicks now.
Set focus square.
Bombshells will die. Watch kicks. Watch kicks. We're spreading. We're spreading in 10. Get it in position, tanks. It'll burn just fine no matter what. Get it there. Keep it there now. Stay. 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 It shouldn't. We don't want to burn it blue. We want to burn the middle ones.
Right here.
Is this the strong shadow freeze?
5 seconds.
All right.
No.
That just happened. All right. Put a barrier behind the boss here. Everyone in. Get in.
I have CDs for this.
Nick, you're gonna roar. Okay, we're spreading in 10. Okay, we're spreading in 5.
One door.
Get hyenas.
Mark.
Okay, and we're spreading now. Spreading now, guys.
Get a wrap on the boss.
Okay,
Back up.
I got it.
Okay, get the bombs. Okay, and then we're chilling here. Get kicks.
Set focus cross.
Kick kicks. All right, the next set, we just need to do a good burn here, tanks, and we need to spawn
Toaster in the
wood.
back needs a range kick.
Interrupt. Next.
I can do
We need
next
to
go.
taunt them into the boss. Taunt them into the boss. We're spreading in 5.
Don't burn.
Spread now. Guys, we just need to kill these bombs, all right?
It's AMC after.
AMZ behind the boss, and we have a disc ramp. Make sure the boss has space.
Double V as well when you get AoE going.
Yep.
Bunch on the right, by the way.
I have no CDs for these.
I have a very weird.
This one's
Okay.
actually good.
It's fine. We got really good bombshells.
We have late 2 minutes.
We're spreading in 5 here.
I won't grip, okay?
Will boomy.
Watch the bombshells on the way in. Watch the bombshells on the way in.
Rob?
Get kicks here. Get kicks.
Ribbons, fade.
Let's drop.
Set focus
Let me call
square.
the enrage, okay? Okay, everyone kill the
Can you
bombshells.
grip away or
Enrage in
no? Can
3,
you jump away, Scott, or
2,
no?
1, jump away. Guys, fire will kill you. Fire will kill you. Fire will kill you.
I'm ready to taunt next.
I have it.
Yeah, tell me when I need.
Fire
Okay.
circles in 5. Listen, fire
go
circles
next,
are gonna
I'll go
kill
next.
everyone in
It's
3.
gonna
Fuck
die.
yeah!
Let's go! Fucking dumb shit.
Welcome back, and that was the kill on Sticks Bone Chunker that we got last night.
Yes.
After dinner.
After dinner, I mean, that's kind of how it goes. They come alive at night, much like Kalamazoo, and they were able to kill off the boss really cleanly, I might add. A little cleaner than some of those other guilds, I'm just saying.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Everyone alive. Healer's healing.
Yeah, it was very nice. And then also after that, the immediate question was, okay, now are we going to go on to Sprocket Monger, or are we going to go back to Splits? And guess what happened, Jack?
They had to do a little bit of adjustments
They
because
sure did.
composition matters a lot, and we can even take a quick look at some of the compositions that they had, I believe, as well for Sticks.
They did make quite a lot of adjustments kind of early on. You know, we started out with 3 tanks and 4 healers, and then we took a tank away, we took a healer away,
Yeah,
switched out some DPS,
They notably had 3 Mistweavers at one point. It
Yeah.
was very crazy.
and 3 blood DKs.
Yeah, I even got to see Ceres build for Oracle, so Disc has been kind of going back and forth with Oracle and Voidweaver hero talents, which has been pretty cool.
Okay.
Notably, Oracle does some pretty good spot healing, triage healing in between their major ramps.
Right.
And Siri was running an interesting build where he was getting rid of a couple of talents that help with your ramp and your AoE healing, and opting for a few talents like Divine Aegis, which will help, and I believe it's called Inner Focus. It's a new talent this season, which actually helps a lot more of your direct healing. So he was using quite a bit more defensive penance to heal some of his allies in between some of his major ramps, doing a ridiculous amount of single target healing, which is pretty important on this encounter because there's a lot of ads running all over the place that could be meleeing your allies, and you just need to have immediate large shields, single target healing to make sure people aren't getting like randomly wombo comboed out of the blue.
Absolutely. So this is the final composition that we did end up going with. So still quite a bit of class stacking, and I'm sure that they will make adjustments before they head into Sprocket Monger. I always say
The Sprocket Monster.
These names are just like tongue twisters. It's difficult. Blizzard's messing with us on this.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. All right, well, let's take a look at the pull counts compared to the other guilds that have also killed this boss, courtesy of RaiderIO. So this one's interesting to me because Method got the least amount of pulls on this. I mean, you know, obviously that's never like a determining factor on who did it the best. But with Sticks Bunk Junker, it kind of surprised me because I feel like this is more like an execution one rather than like a how do we figure out these mechanics, what are the secrets type of encounter.
Yeah, and that's part of the challenge is that you have everybody in the raid eligible to be chosen to roll around on these Katamari balls, roll up big, large amounts of trash, and the amount of breathing room to be in the right position, roll up all the trash, and either detonate one of the bombs or use your trash pile to add more damage to the boss. It's very, very tight. And so everybody in the raid has to execute this flawlessly. And so there's a lot of times where it's just a matter of how consistently can we do this and make sure that we are not having any sort of mistakes, any sort of raid wipes. And if one person in the entire raid makes a mistake, then you have 20 wipes.
Right. Yep. Well, here is the comparison of Liquid Echo and Method. Do you expect to see, because it's such a tight damage check for a 4th boss, do we expect to see some of these other guilds down Styx this week? Or, because I've heard a lot of them have just kind of stopped. Like ID, I think, isn't going anymore. Dratnos' guild, Pop-Tart Corn Dog, they're like, nah, we don't think we're going to kill this. At least from what I heard last night, I could be ill-informed at this point.
A big point is damage, but it's also the type of damage, which is a major problem for non-world first guilds.
Yeah.
It's that in order to kill off the territorial bombshells, they are like these big crab bombs that latch on to piles of garbage. They spread out all over the place. And so boomkins, shadow priests were really valuable to make sure that they could detach these bombshells, get them into the melee meat grinder, and then they would be able to be killed off. Because if they are touched by any of the garbage piles, then they instantly detonate and wipe out the raid. So it's the type of damage that matters, in addition to having enough damage, because all of these raiders are decked out in 4-piece, Eye of Kazan. Most of them have the Jaster Diamond, very rare ring, all of these amazing tools. And you could have it a full raid like Pop-Tart Corn Dog, which is well geared if, you know, Dratnos didn't eat all of the gear.
No, he did. He's full bis.
Yeah.
Minus 1 piece.
Being an officer must be very nice.
I know.
And then you need to have the right type of damage to guarantee that you're going to detach these bombshells. So I think
Right.
for a lot of guilds who don't have as much comp flexibility, it's a matter of them really going into the Mythic Plus hyperbolic time chamber, or maybe trying to do Mythic splits on alts and kill off the first 2 boss fights again on other characters to make sure that they can have a composition later on for Styx.
Okay.
Which
We'll see.
sucks. Which sucks.
That was your answer. I'm just going to say, we'll see. Yeah. Well, we did some of our own polls on the next boss, of course, Sprachenmonger Lockenstock, as Makes has been saying, and I can't get out of my head. And we do have the best poll that we saw last night from the guild. Let's check it out.
Do W, Nick. That was perfect. 2 Dryny.
2, 1, 5, 4,
And lasers are soon.
2,
In like, I can't give you the exact timer. Our big week's timers are wrong. Sometime in the next 3 seconds.
Give me space to move if you can.
Yeah. Back up, below, back up. I'm gonna be on Yips' side one time.
Okay. Drills. If you get drills, bait the drills on the conveyor belt or near the back. Going out now.
Always press defensive when you're soaking.
Hey, rockets, guys. Dodge.
5,
Lasers, same time.
4, 3, 2,
Watch rockets.
1.
Okay. And we're color swapping. Pay attention if you're changing or swapping. Okay, and then this is the far set of mines. So KSP, you're Gigafar after Yips, okay? KSP now.
Go ahead.
Good. This is Trill. And Impact. Hellstone. Off lasers. Don't get stuck in the middle. That was fucking hype. Watch the rockets. Okay, wire transfer. Just be safe here. Give red the other side of the room, if that makes sense. Don't knock people.
5,
Bob trouble.
4, 3,
Okay.
2,
Tank bomb, and then we're color swapping, and then we're boss ready for the face. Pull to the middle, pull to the middle, pull to the middle.
We have the tank mech still.
We're switching color.
We're switching color, and then it's doing a knockback. Okay, we need to change our positioning for this, I think.
You need to windrust this every time, Impact, if
Oh
you're
my
not doing
god,
it.
that is
When we're getting the polarity thing. If you can put that in your reminder.
Every single player to the last one before the face.
Yeah, the last polarity before the face every time.
buddy.
Red goes on the outside, right?
That class is crazy.
On the same side.
What'd you say, King Clay?
Red goes on the outside, right? When we're on the same side.
Yes. We can talk about 2 things there, but I think we need to talk about the intermission because I thought we'd have time to move it to the middle. but we might need to pre-move it to the middle because there's no mines there, right? The mines are done, so it's just should be able to just move there. But let's workshop two things. Let's do one at a time. So
it feels like on blue side, by the way, at least on the second set platform, that you have like legit 1 yard of melee range without getting dragged away.
Wow, that was an incredible pull out of Sprocketmonger. And one of the biggest things is the mythic mechanic with the polarities that they were referencing. So if you're seeing certain POVs that we had, you were able to see either a red icon or a blue icon over the heads of some of the players, and that's marking which color that they are. And the foot bomb mine mechanic that happens on the encounter means that you have to, as a red player, only soak red bombs. As a blue player, you can only soak the blue bombs. And as a result, if you touch any of the opposing bombs of the color, they wipe the raid out entirely. If you, as a red player, touch a blue player, you just knock each other back, which could be really lethal, with certain parts of the platform being electrified and it being very easy to get knocked off the platform in its entirety. Right there, they saw the beta launch, the first intermission, and what happens is they swap polarities, so players need to get into their red or blue groups seconds before they get knocked back. And then they need to run against the conveyor belt to get in position, DPS the boss, while also just staying alive the entire time. It's a really nasty phase transition, and because of how the beta launch knockback works, it's a constant wave. And you have to wait for the entire wave to kind of go through your character before you're actually going to be able to get you said like Transcendence or Gateway or something along those lines. If you instantly hit Transcendence after the first bit of the knockback, it'll still keep knocking you back until it decides that the boss is like in position. So it's a very nasty mechanic that they have to figure out, like Max was saying, like 3 different things all at once to get past that phase.
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
They will. We have all day today.
We sure do. Yeah, this is the last day before reset, so it feels kind of weird that we're already here and on the 5th boss. So the pacing is definitely interesting, but of course we can talk about that a little bit later because first we have to get to, I don't know, my favorite part of the day, Jack. I don't know about you, but it is the Honda Guild Grand Prix. We do have a racing simulator here in the studio, and we've been challenging all of the raiders to do it as fast as they can and try and beat each other's score.
Well, we know that they're the gods of World of Warcraft, but now we got to see how good they are at driving a real car.
Okay, let's see which raider is up to the challenge today in the Honda Guild Grand Prix. Let's check it out. That's my favorite part right there. Oh, Atlas. Skirt. Skirt.
That was bad.
Nah.
That was the tiniest of skirt. Also,
all right, good
fun
position.
fact.
10 and 2.
That little scooter is called the Honda Moto Compacto. Ooh. Honda also makes it. All right.
Have everything.
Off to a good start. Off to a good start.
Okay. He's going pretty fast.
Yes. We're not used to
tight turn. Hit the brakes, hit the brakes, hit the brakes.
Okay, buddy.
I'm not a beast.
This
I'm
is
not a
already,
beast.
they all crash on that one.
I'm not a beast.
Yeah.
I crashed out.
Okay. We're getting in there.
Oh, he's going so fast.
Come on, Atlas. Come on, Atlas. Oh my gosh.
That Civic R series is so fast.
I know he has
Dude,
his
imagine
license.
if I just clap him with this time. Okay,
So
I have
this
to
is
finish
this
in
is
10
not great.
seconds.
This is not great, Atlas.
Wait, this is the big turn. You're
Come
doing
on.
pretty well.
Okay.
Wait. Tight turn, tight turn, tight turn.
Okay. Oh,
Ah!
dude. Oh,
No!
That
man.
works. That's not
Oh my
working.
Ah!
It's not working at all, actually. What if I just like hit one of these?
no.
Oh god.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
No, we're going the wrong way.
Okay.
We're going the right way. We're going the correct way. We're going the wrong way.
Oh,
We're going the right way.
no.
Oh no. I am not
surely
gonna
it
get in a
ends, like,
car
right
with
on
him,
one
Jack.
Ah, not until Honda has the full autonomous driving for him.
No, definitely not. All right, we've got.
And the straightaway.
Okay, could have been worse.
And the straightaway. Let's go.
All right, let's see. What did he get? I have a feeling he's gonna be a little bit far
kinda
down on the
sucks.
leaderboards.
133,
All right.
369.
I got
Get out of here. Walk of shame.
You just hear glass breaking.
Little SpongeBob sound.
Oh,
Oh, no.
no.
3 seconds slower.
Atlas has now placed a new worst time in our Honda Grand Prix.
That is that's tragique.
That definitely is. THD with a slow and steady I just won't crash strategy is still in the lead.
Interesting. Okay, well, you guys are going to have to tune in tomorrow to see if any of those racers can beat Atlas's time. The bar is getting lower and lower, Jack.
It really is. I think 3 days in a row we've had new worst times being set.
Interesting. All right, well, Honda continues to push the boundaries of what is possible in sustainability and safety with the goal of carbon neutrality and zero traffic accident fatalities by 2050. And it looks like Atlas has something to look forward to in the roadmap for Honda.
Absolutely. We'll be keeping an eye on all the news for the autonomous driving they have to offer for our Raiders. That would be nice.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Grand Prix does not have autonomous driving.
I do love the lane assist they have. It's very nice.
On the actual cars?
Yeah, on my Honda. You
it
just
is nice.
cruise control, lane assist, done.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I wish my car had that. Maybe I should get one.
Well, maybe you should upgrade.
Yeah, sorry. All right. Well, let's take a look at the apparel. You're donning some of it today.
That's right.
Yes.
I have the Cauldron of Carnage setup that we have going on right now with Team Liquid. You
want to show the back?
The whole Team Liquid setup they have going on. Yeah, if you want to see some of the wires we have. Our little Cauldron of Carnage showdown.
Very nice. It's giving me comic book vibes. Yeah. Oh, and I've got the jersey on today also.
Yeah. The Elite Liquid jersey. You can see our full collection right here at tl.gg/RWF.
Very nice. We've got the short. Also, I noticed something.
Yes.
They're wearing the shorts. on the Max mannequin. You could go steal them.
Oh.
Yeah, just yoink them.
I can go pants the Max
yeah,
mannequin.
Go take them from the Max cutout. But here's a look at all of the apparel that we have available. Teal.gg/RWF if you'd like a piece of the Race World First to don from home while you watch us compete in the Undermine.
Absolutely, or one of the mouse pads they have.
Or one of the mouse pads.
Like called line art. What's the style in the bottom left?
I have no idea. Line
it looks
art?
sick though.
I don't know.
I love it.
It does. I like the contrasting black and white. That is the one that they gave us, the left one, the leftmost mouse pad. So huge shout out to Team Liquid for absolutely killing it once again with their apparel collection. Like I said, teal.gg/RWF if you'd like to check it out for yourself. And that's not the only thing going on during the Race World First, of course. We are still continuing to raise money for the Pasadena Humane Society. We hit $10,000 yesterday. I would love to see where we are currently for our charity goal because we're nearing like the halfway mark for our goals.
Yeah, and I think at $10,000 it's sock puppet casting, or is that $7,500?
$10,000 was sock puppet casting.
Yeah.
$7,500 was. We'll find out right here. What? It is. You were correct. Sock puppet casting. $10,000 is Trill versus Casters PvP.
There it is. I knew there was something there. We're at $10,487. And at $15,000, we are going to be doing live Week Aura sounds.
Absolutely. If you'd like to send in some money for our amazing cause, it goes straight to the Pasadena Humane Society via Tiltify, teal.gg/RWF-donate. And also there's some fun incentives. If you'd like also to have your pet featured on broadcast or your transmog, you can send in $35 with the Armory link, or not a social media link, a image hosting platform link would be very helpful for us.
Absolutely. Really enjoyed a lot of the pet pictures we've had. Even some people showing off their battle stations, their home setups, and everything along those lines. Aww.
Look at these guys.
There's rats.
Yeah, that's Kalamazoo and THD.
Aww.
Having a little snack together on the right there.
Them eating Taco Bell in the morning, in the evening.
Yeah, it is. Exactly.
Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
I love rats. They're very intelligent and smart creatures, and I think they get shamed by society, and we should do better, chat.
Yeah, chat.
Not THD and Kalamazoo. I'm talking about actual rats. They're very cute. Do you have a favorite on the...
I kind of like the cats.
Yeah, the little kitties.
Yeah, they probably see a bird outside.
Yeah, make that little chirping noise.
Yeah.
Tuttles didn't know what I was talking about, and yet he has a cat. They literally go like, I can't do it.
I kind of think that he lives so high in the sky in his like 20th floor penthouse estate that his cat doesn't see the birds.
Oh, that makes me sad for Bert.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's missing out. I mean, we know that Tuttles loves Bert very much, and he's a very spoiled little kitty. He even has like a security camera feed going on of
Check
Bert.
in on him.
Yeah, just checking in on Bert. I wish I had done that. Very smart.
Do a little FaceTime.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you everyone that has submitted their pet pictures so far, as well as their transmog. We've seen some UIs as well, some battle stations. Keep them coming because we are supporting an amazing cause. And with that also, we are featuring a pet of the day that is adaptable, teal.gg/adapt if you'd like to check out all of the rest of the adaptable animals at the Pasadena Humane Society. And we can take a look at the featured one today. Here is Shadow, spayed female, black domestic, short hair, 5 years old, at the shelter since 2/25/25, recently depicted by Keanu Reeves. I love a good void kitty.
There's so many movie stars in LA.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I know.
You just go around the corner and there's suddenly movie stars everywhere.
Weird. Yeah.
Of course, if you're looking at any of the animals for adoption, you can check it out at tl.gg/adopt.
Absolutely. Get yourself a little void kitty. Black cats are weird. I
Yeah?
feel like people don't talk. I feel like black cats are bad luck. Whatever. They're just like weirdos. They're little weirdos.
I thought the orange cats were the weirdos.
They're just stupid weirdos. Black cats are just weirdos. Yeah. As an owner of an orange cat, I am allowed to say that. Yeah.
You have standing.
Not the brightest bulb in the zoo at my house. So.
There's bulbs.
Yeah, the bulbs, brightest bulb.
Not the brightest bulb in the garden.
Ah, is that the phrase?
Yeah, sure. Let's go with
Yeah,
that.
we'll go with that. All
I
right.
was
Well,
going for a garden theme instead of the light.
Definitely.
Because there's bulbs that are plants.
Okay,
And then
right.
there's bulbs that are like light bulbs.
Yeah.
And so you could just kind of do it for
cats.
garden instead.
Garden. Okay. I think I lost you, but that
okay.
makes sense.
You know what?
We'll workshop it.
Might be because Mercury's in retrograde,
I hate
right?
this conversation so much. Oh, you're throwing to my astrology coin. I'm sorry. That was an alley-oop and I missed it. That's why I didn't play basketball. All right. Well, we are doing the WoW horoscope now, and I have a new exciting subject for you guys today. Are you ready?
I am so excited, Aya.
This one's a little bit cursed. I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of things that I can do, but I think it's fun. I put some thought into it.
We're not even halfway through the raid, Aya. Come on.
Yeah, but I did a whole other tier of these, so I kind of missed like I've already done the obvious ones.
All right.
But today is what water bottle you are based on what class you play.
It's gonna be
It's
fun.
fun.
I have
It's
my
gonna be
water
fun.
bottle below, so.
It's fun, I promise. Oh, do you? Okay, well,
Yeah.
let me just grab my papers here. Hold on. All right. Don't look. No cheating. Okay. Are you ready for the first one?
I'm ready, Aya.
I'm not doing this in any particular order. It's just going to be random. Okay. The first one, it's priest.
Oh, what do you know?
I swear to God, I didn't. Is it a hydro flask or is it just
Just an insulated water bottle.
So I was close.
Yeah.
Yeah, hydro flask. You know, simple, reliable. Yeah, there you go. Look at this. He
That's
calls
me.
it his emotional support water bottle.
That's right. It goes with me wherever I go.
Yeah. Some people call this like a lantern water bottle. They kind of winter. You know what I mean?
Goes on all the adventures with me.
Very practical, very clean, hydrated.
Yeah. Fill it up with ice all day.
Yeah.
Stays cold all day.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so that is priest.
Woo.
Now, here is paladin. So paladin, this is weird.
So what would be the difference for paladin? Is this like a water bottle that you're always carrying around with you?
So I cheated a little bit on some of these. This is not a water bottle. This is more of a method of consuming H2O.
Okay, so all of these could be a method of consuming H2O.
It could be.
Okay.
Yes.
So paladin.
It's a little unhinged. Might be a little annoying for some people. Doesn't really make sense. A little bit off.
So it's not going to be some like raggedy plastic water bottle for a paladin.
No, but that's coming.
It would probably be a little ostentatious, a little much.
Would you like to see it?
I would love to.
These are the people that like chew ice.
Ah!
Yeah.
I do love chewing ice.
Yeah, you know, they just sit there and they munch on the ice all day.
Yeah, I went to the dentist and they're like, "Oh, do you grind in your sleep? Do your teeth hurt when you wake up?" And I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
I just like chewing ice."
Is this you?
I mean, Paladin was my first healer I ever played.
I was gonna ask, do you alt a holy priest?
Well, I main priest, and then Pally was one of my alts, but they did some awful things to Pally, so not so much these days.
Yeah, I know. That's why I put the weird one for the paladin.
Yeah. They've been through a lot, okay? It might be a little like coping mechanism for some of the trauma that they've endured.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like an anxiety thing, like pregnant women where they're going through labor, they chew on ice, like all kinds of methods.
Today I learned.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, the next one is warlock.
I bet they don't drink any water.
Oh my God. I don't like the taste of water. Those people cannot be trusted.
Yeah. That tracks.
That is so strange to me. I mean,
That tracks.
You need water. You need water.
It tastes bad.
It tastes bad. I like soda.
Yeah. Yep, that tracks.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you knew. All right, we're synced up.
That's right.
All right, this next one is rogue.
Okay, let's see. I think Rogue is gonna have probably some like, like ratty, leathery, like camelback or something like that.
That would have been good.
You know?
Rogue is a red solo.
That's not full of water.
Is there water in it? Is there something else in it? We don't know. They use it for both. They may not wash it. It might just like kind of permanently live on their counter.
Yeah. It's like the bedside red solo cup.
Yeah. It's like chewed on. The rims are chewed on. You know, it doesn't. They don't throw it away until it kind of starts cracking in the middle here, and then they're like, okay, time for the next one.
They taste the plastic.
Yeah, exactly. So Rogue is red solo cup.
Love it.
All right, next one is Monk. I don't remember what I put for this. Let's see.
Ooh. Did you show it?
Sorry. It's infused like cucumber. Like, you know when you go into like a bougie hotel and they have this kind of crap.
The cucumber enhances the flavor.
I mean, it sure does. Oh, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, Jack, by any means.
You ever watched The Other Guys?
No. Sorry.
I really would have liked that cucumber water.
I enjoy a good cucumber water.
Good movie.
I'll have to check it out.
It's Marky Mark and Will Ferrell.
Okay. All right. Well, chat, I don't know. How did I do with this one? I think this feels right to me.
They're probably just, they need to have some kind of extra little tint of flavor.
Yeah.
Do you want waters? Oh, I must have a lemon with that, please.
Yes, a lemon water. A water with lemon. No ice.
No ice.
Yes. All right. That is Monk. All right. Here is Druid. I'm proud of this one.
Oh, hang on. Okay. It's going to be like their hands just scooping water into their mouth.
That would have been good. That would have been funny. I don't want to do like the furry thing every day. You know what I mean? All right.
Attuned with nature.
Here is a Druid.
They got like the backpacking hiker covered in stickers of everywhere they've been. That's
all
good
the national
too.
Parks. Yeah.
I was thinking of something like that for Hunter.
Yeah, that would have been good too. But
I see the vision.
You'll see the Hunter one soon.
I see the vision.
Yep. Well, this is Druid. Yeah, and I'm sure I have a nothing bottle that looks just like this.
I was about to say, do you main a Druid? Because that looks like your water bottle.
I've carried it with me everywhere. I've had it since high school.
Darn hippie.
I've almost lost it many times. I've had to fetch it out of Lost and Founds, but luckily we're still here. All right, Warrior. They're very practical. They're reliable. They're not too materialistic. You know, big burly men I kind of think of when I think of people that play Warrior.
Is this going to be like... this is going to be tough. What do you got for us? Okay, the jug of water. Yeah, they're like the gym bros who bring the entire gallon of water. Yeah. So originally I was thinking it was going to be like a beat-up plastic bottle, but I think there's somebody else who might do better with that.
They might even have like lines of, like the milliliters of water that they're consuming.
Yep.
Yeah, on the side.
They could track it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is Warrior. It was surprisingly hard to find a picture of a gallon of like a milk jug with water.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so this is the best I could do, but I'm glad we all knew what I was doing.
I see the vision.
Thank you so much.
I've seen the people at the gym like this.
Absolutely. All right, so this one I do have to go in order. Hold on. Look away. Wait 1 second. Okay, so thank you. All right, hold on. Let me just
Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, this is Shaman.
Okay. Shaman, can I look?
You can look now.
Okay.
Yes.
Shaman would probably be... I haven't seen it yet. What would Shaman be? They are kind of the water themselves.
You want to just see it?
All right, let's see it.
It's a Stanley water.
Well, those do have lead in it, so...
Probably in pastel. You know, it's one of those like collectible ones, right? They carry it with them. They're like that person that brings it to restaurants or like when they're shopping at department stores, which makes absolutely no sense.
The vibes.
Like, are they not aware that
the vibes.
That water fountains exist? I don't really know what the point of that was. Like, oh my god, I'm not gonna have water for.
I always bring this everywhere.
Yes.
Hold up. Watch your tone.
Do you bring it with you when you go shopping on errands? Water bottle?
I'll leave it in the car, but it depends.
You leave it in the car. You don't bring it in with.
Depends on how long it would be out.
Okay.
I'm gonna be out for a while.
You're gonna be out for a while. I bring it with you, but into a restaurant?
What? Women get to have purses.
Do you play
Why can't I have something?
No, you're right.
Why can't I have this?
Hey, listen. You're hydrated. I get it. Okay.
Can't wear fanny packs. Can't bring water bottles with me.
No, fanny packs are great. I am a fan.
Good.
Yeah. I
would wear those. I would wear those all the time if I could.
Absolutely. All right. Next one is Evoker.
Okay.
Now Evoker, if you recall, they're kind of my like chuggy millennials, my live, laugh, love girlies.
Yeah. Well, that's where I would have thought it would have been the Stanley Cup then. That's the problem. It's like
They have the wall of Stanley Cups. They have
Yes.
completely defeated the purpose of the reusable cup because they have 100 of them.
Well, they might also be with some like the tech bros who always get those as gifts
Could
every
be
event.
also, not
you know?
the evokers. Not
Yep.
the evokers, Jack. No, they are seeking them out.
Yeah.
And putting them in a wall on display.
Going out of their way for it.
Yeah,
Love
some of
it.
them don't even take the wrappers off of them. Very weird behavior, evokers. Please explain that.
It leaves us with Demon Hunter.
We've got Hunter now.
Okay, Hunter.
I'm proud of this one. I get angry DMs from hunters every time I do hunters.
This is going to be like reusing a Dasani water bottle.
Close.
Ah, they drank from the hose.
Which I can't even knock because when I was a child, that was the best
That
tasting
was.
water. It was so good. It was so good. So yeah, hose water.
I should have prepared myself. Let me know about these in advance so I can
Yeah.
I can chew on these.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
I want to like
hunters-
guess these correctly in advance.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, Demon Hunter, you've been guessing it all along.
The crumpled up water bottle. Yes.
Water bottle.
I knew this. I knew it had to happen.
Probably like an arrowhead where it's like thinner plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where the cap is like sort of weak and you can like screw.
If
when
they
you, like,
chew on the
screw it,
cap.
you don't quite hit. It never like tightens all the way. You just keep going. You're like, I don't know what's going on with this.
No, they definitely chew on the cap.
Yeah, chew on the cap also. Yeah, they grab the little, what's the little ring thing from the cap? It's ripped off.
Yeah.
And then they chew on that part.
Yep. The lid protector.
It's
basically.
chaos.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's Demon Hunter.
That makes sense.
All right, Mage, I feel like is obvious.
This is, yeah, water fountain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, providing water for themselves and the rest of everybody else.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's even some of them, the fancy mages, the retail mages, they've got the little counter here that says how many little bits.
Oh yeah.
Of,
You've
you know,
saved this much water.
Exactly. Yes, and it's always ice cold and it's fresh and it's delicious. We love our mages. Thank you for supplying water to the masses.
Masses. To
Yes.
me.
Yeah, to Jack.
Whenever I
thank
want to
you.
play Holy Pally.
Absolutely.
Because they just do.
Yes.
All right.
Last one is Death Knight. I play Death Knight. I try not to be too biased on the Death Knights. So I went honest. I'm just gonna show it. I went, you know, inside my feelings and I was like, what is my water bottle? How do I consume water? Ready?
What do we got? We don't know what their water bottle looks like, but we do know that it's 10 p.m. and they forgot to drink water and they are very dehydrated, so they are now chugging water to make up for lost time, and they will likely have to bio at 3 a.m. Also, I definitely didn't write this from personal experience. You hate to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Why does my head hurt?
Mm-hmm.
Are you drinking water? No.
Yeah, that's me.
My tummy hurt.
That's me.
Why am I cold?
Yeah, and then I wake up at 3 a.m. and I'm like, oh no, chug too much water.
Oh boy, 3 a.m.
Yeah, well, how did I do?
It was great.
Oh, good.
That was great. I am really upset that I did not guess drinking from the hose. I'm a little disappointed in myself for that.
I know.
Because the second you showed it, it all made sense.
I know.
was
The water in the hands thing was good.
I was really thinking it was going to be like, you know, drinking from the springs themselves.
Yeah.
The land itself.
Yeah, so I mean, when I'm making these, sometimes I think of like the people that I know and their stereotypes that play those classes.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I go a little bit more in the class fantasy direction, like with the mage and the water fountain. So it kind of just like depends on the vibe. And
So when I did a lot of hiking, we had this like hand pump water purifier. And so
Right.
you would like dip the little nozzle
yeah.
into the spring, and then you just start pumping it into your water bottle with another hose.
I have one of those too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
if you
good.
ever go backpacking, you need to drink water.
That's right.
So-
A little sip, because it would be like a puddle, just sort of kind of like bubbling from the ground,
Yeah, you don't want Giardia. That's bad.
amongst other things.
Yeah, lots of dirty water in the streams. All right, we are going to head out and we will be back. Hopefully we're going to be getting some pulls in early morning on the next boss, and I am so excited. Are you?
I am very hopeful that the first shift of the day will not be Mythic Plus this time.
Oh my God.
We'll see, though. We'll
Spoke it into
see.
Existence. Is this a wall? Okay, I just knocked on wood. We're good. We're safe. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Rise and Race presented by Honda. My name is Aya.
And I'm Jack.
See you in just a bit. Bye.
That was my problem. This is my future.
Alienware Pro wireless headset, it's become my main headset for anything WoW related.
The battery life is actually a huge deal for us. One of the few esports that plays all day, every day. 4 days of gaming on one battery, that's insane.
This headset is everything that you can ever want and dream of. Without a doubt, this is the most comfortable headset that I've ever worn. I hate headsets that kind of like clamp on your ears or feel like they're pinning against the side of your head. This headset feels really, really good around my ears while I play.
The quality of sound from the Alienware Pro headset is perfect for shot calling in intense situations. At the race, there's a lot of distractions, and sometimes I just need to be able to hear what the guys are doing in the middle of a boss fight. So after using this headset, I don't think I can use a different headset again. This headset is what you need.
This is Max, and here is the exact moment he saw a custom plush toy we made of him from scratch.
Wow, it's got, okay, so there's a lot going on here.
We here at Team Liquid have spent months turning all of our friends, family, and any famous people we can find a public address for into their own custom plushes based off our mascot, Blue. Which means we had to make one for everyone's favorite raid leader and WoW streamer, Maximum. The first thing we have to do is give Blue some facial hair. Using some fur and this deep, longing photo of Max, we remade his scruff 1-2-1.
It's got a crazy beard. I was certainly looking that homeless during the last race.
And Max's face would be unrecognizable without his glasses. Important for raiding and seeing. Then we realized he was still without clothes, so we made him decent with a custom jersey. And at this point, he looked a little less Max and a little more Seth Rogen in a t-shirt, so we added some memorable WoW items, Ramornia and the Gift of N'Zoth, both 3D printed and painted to match the game. Finally, we delivered it to Max to capture his reaction.
Look, he's real cute. He's got my little Harry Potter glasses on. I get to keep this, right? You can make your own. You just gotta go to tl.gg/myblue and you can customize it however you want.
Hello, everybody, and good morning. Welcome to the Team Liquid Race to World First. We are getting some pulls in on Sprocket Monster in just a moment. Monger, goodness gracious, I'll get it. Sprocket Monger. Coinbase, our presenting partner, of course, as well as Honda, Secret Lab, Monster Energy, Alienware, MyBlue, RaiderIO, Wowhead, Warcraft Logs, and DungeonDojo. And today's going to be a fantastic day because yesterday we got some progress. We finally got some mythic progression. We went a little bit back into some splits, but we're here back at Tettles into the race. We can take a look at the Coinbase leaderboard and check out exactly where we are compared to the other guilds.
Yeah, so Liquid had a pretty good day yesterday. They ended up taking down Styx Bunk Junker after 113 attempts. And now the race is kind of heating up as you see Echo and Method both also matching Liquid's progression, pulling Sprocket Monger Lock and Stock. Echo, I think their best pull on Sprocket Monger, we'll be able to see that on the leaderboard asset in a little bit, is 27%. And by looking at this boss, it looks very consistent with what you're supposed to be doing. There is some variance in terms of soaking the mines and a little bit in terms of like who's got what polarity when. But it's going to be a very strict dance fight where the difficulty of this boss really is going to come down to the damage check. It seems to be a boss where you're going to probably pull it somewhere between 75 and 100 times just so you can make sure that everybody has the mechanics on lock. But it's going to be a pretty challenging fight. And so it's just going to be about being able to get volume of pulls and just trying to continue to progress through the most difficult points of this boss today.
Absolutely. We can look at the boss progress. Here is all of the bosses that we have down and the ones that we're going to be seeing next. Of course, we can see in the middle there, Sprocket Monger Lock and Stock is where we currently are, Jack.
That's right, and we were the first guild, of course, to get Styx Bunk Junker down. Got to see some Sprocket Monger pulls, and got to see when some of the more frustrating parts of the encounter are with the polarity changes that we're going to be seeing on Mythic difficulty, requiring half the raid to be marked as red, half as blue, and of course, as we all know, you can't cross those beams.
Yeah, a lot of mechanics here that are pretty contrasting. Also, just this entire fight in general, Tettles, I feel like is pretty different from the one from Styx Bunk Junker. So it's kind of a change in pace, I'd say.
Yeah, I think Styx and Rick Reverb are kind of fights that have pretty high variance whenever you're, just generally doing them. For Rick Reverb, it was making sure that you were able to kill off the pyrotechnic bombs in time, and they would spawn like across the room, which made that fight have a frustrating amount of RNG. For Styx Bunk Junker, it was when are players going to be rolling these trash piles? If your Shadow Priest is getting selected right before he's supposed to be popping his cooldowns, it is like completely toast. There were some sets where you would just like lose your Moonkins, and that made Styx Bunk Junker just a frustrating fight for the Raiders. They've expressed this a few times because of how heavy the RNG on a boss like that was. For Sprocket Monger Lock and Stock, it's kind of similar to Nexus Princess Kaiveza, where a lot of it is going to end up being predetermined. There's a lot of parts of it that look really cool, but ultimately the big and most difficult part of this boss is going to end up being a pretty steep DPS check.
Yeah, which is something we kind of ran into with Styx Bunk Junker. Do you think it's going to be a tighter damage check on this one, Tettles? Jack?
I think the big reflection is going to be the difference in damage profile.
Okay.
Notably, Boomkins were super important on Styx Bunk Junker because you needed to DPS the territorial bombshells. Unfortunately, as Tettles I'm sure could elaborate a lot better, Boomkin not good on single target.
Yeah, Moonkin's not good on single target, which is why whenever we saw Liquid immediately go to Sprocket Monger yesterday, they signed up with the group with 4 Windwalker Monks. The opening comp involved 4 Windwalker Monks. Now, I do suspect that the comp is going to change a little bit this morning compared to what we saw last night. They're probably going to be taking a look at what Method and what Echo were doing in Sprocket Monger, utilizing some of those resources that they have by looking at other guilds' pulls, and then determining what long-term composition they're probably going to want to kill Sprocket Monger with. Ultimately, it is going to come down to, kind of like you're mentioning, who can do the most single target. Like, we are looking for the specializations that do top-tier single target, whether it be the Havoc Demon Hunter, the Windwalker Monk, Enhancement Shaman also quite good as well. Sub-Rogue even potentially good. Dev Evoker. Those are the kind of specializations that you should be looking to see. And then from there on out, it's going to be making sure that you just don't mess up the polarity mechanic, making sure that you also dodge a bunch of the group-wide damage. Because if you make a mistake with any of the mechanics on this fight, you're likely to cause a raid-wide damage or at least take another person out with you.
That's right. And it's very easy with those knockbacks to get knocked into a very poor position, knock somebody off the platform, or maybe you get knocked back into somebody else who gets knocked back, who then gets knocked off into the platform, and it just is chaos after that.
So they were running double Warlock last night. I think double Warlock is gone. The initial reason that they were running double Warlock is because during PTR testing, how the intermissions worked was all 20 players got sent back to the very beginning where you would spawn at the boss room. This made sense with the polarity mechanic because then it would separate players out from one another. But the knockback on Sprocketmonger has been changed since of what it was on PTR to what it is now, where you just get knocked back with this constant pushback for 3 seconds over I think you probably get knocked back 45 yards or something like that. So the only way to counter it is Warlock Gate. But you don't necessarily need 2, you only need 1, because one group is going to get knocked down the platform to where Sprocketmonger is going to land, and the other group is going to get knocked down the middle platform and then gate across to where Sprocketmonger is to be able to kind of meet up. And that way you can have both of your melee groups that have red and blue polarities contacting the boss, and they're actually able to hit the boss that way. So I think that the strategy for what's actually going to happen in the intermission is going to be something that we're going to have to watch out for a lot, but it's really cool whenever it's done well.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is now that Echo and Method are going in and putting a bunch of pulls into the encounter, this also kind of gives you an opportunity to start seeing how you can start yoinking some of those strategies and adjustments, whether it's compositional or whether it's some of the positioning before that beta launch intermission phase is going out.
100%.
There's not really a lot of variety in terms of oh, they decide to do this strategy instead of this. It's well, here's the best way to do it. Let's go steal this.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot. It's really going to come down to execution. It is a very heavy execution fight and making sure that you're able to optimize your DPS to the T. That is going to be the most important things that we're going to be seeing with Sprocketmonger. But of course, you can't make mistakes with the mechanics because you're going to get punished. It's not going to be something that's trivial mechanically, but it's going to be one of those things that, since it is so predetermined, I think the best term to use is predetermined here, but since it is so predetermined, you kind of know what to expect on a pull-to-pull basis.
Yeah. Yeah, Cam's last night was saying that he kind of likes bosses like this because once you get in that rhythm and you're really comfortable with it, it kind of becomes a dance.
I think this is one of the coolest fights of the tier.
Really?
So
Yeah.
What really happens is you have maybe 2 or 3 variations of what could happen or on a personal level of saying, oh, okay, I'm red at this time in the encounter, here's where I stand. Oh, I'm blue at this time in the encounter, here's where I stand. Okay, let me figure out both of these combinations. And then you kind of do that in, maybe a half a dozen or a dozen different parts of the fight where, oh, I have to move around a little bit more. Okay, now I've optimized this. And the Raiders are so insanely good at making sure they optimize the mechanics first. And then they start getting to the end of the fight, they hit an enrage, and it's okay, now it's time to optimize our damage. We've seen time and time again where they're missing 5% boss HP, 10%, whatever it might be. And it's oh, do they need nerfs for this fight? And no, they just need to optimize damage, and they get into that correct mindset. That's a lot of what high-end rating is all about.
Going into each of the phases, one new ability is empowered. So going into phase 2, the beams that you see, they're no longer these skinny fire lines. Instead, they're massive void zones that you have to watch out for. That one's not bad. The phase 3, the rockets turn from these I would describe them as the love rocket looking animation into these big slow moving orbs that cross the platform. But the deal with those slow moving orbs is that if they contact a player, then they do raid wide damage as opposed to personal damage. And I saw somebody get hit in one of the VODs, and it was just the entire raid just immediately dies. It was a 5.5 million health hit on the entire raid, and so it's not going to wipe you, in the sense of it's not going to kill off every single one of your players, but you're probably losing half the rate immediately to just one of those players getting hit by that. So I think that dodging those void orbs at the very end of the boss is going to be an insanely tough ask, especially since I think the last void orb set of the fight, it also involves a magnet suck at the exact same time, so it's completely cursed.
Exactly. I was going to say that, and the DPS check is going to be so tight that even if you, let's say, have a perfect scenario where you only lose 2 or 3 players, well, now you're not going to beat the DPS check either.
Exactly. It is. It's going to be a tough fight. I think that this is a really cool boss for Race World First viewing. I think that this is one of the top tier bosses.
I think it's hard for the right reasons.
Exactly.
Is the big thing.
100%.
It's not, it's just randomosity and, you have such a tight window in order to deal with it. It is all about high-end execution and consistency, which these guys quite literally are constantly training for.
100%.
All right, well, we are getting our first pull in. We can see the composition. Also, pull number 1 on Sprocketmonger Lock and Stock for the day.
We love to see it. Now, previously they were running with 3 healers last night. Now it looks like they've switched to the 4 healer setup. Double Mistweaver, Resto Druid, and of course the Discipline Priest.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of the compositional changes they've made make sense. They're no longer playing a bunch of those. They're not playing double Warlock, instead opting for that 4th healer. I think that that's probably the easiest place of doing that. But then they have things like double BM Hunter, great single target specialization. Triple Windwalker Monk, that spec sims for like 2.5 million on single target. That spec is
Rogue
nasty.
in now too.
Yeah, the Rogue was in all day yesterday, but you know it wasn't in on Styx Bunk Junker. But Rogue is also pretty solid single target. I think that all of the specializations that are on this fight make sense. And right now you can see a couple of different things. So on THD's UI, not every player has this, but on the left side he's got the list of people with what polarity. That way it's like an assignment list on who's going to be soaking what mine with the polarity. That way you can kind of easily assess. And then on top of that, he's got the rules of the road in the top right, where you see exactly where each and every single mine is supposed to be placed and who is supposed to be soaking those. And so it really, everything is kind of outlined in weak auras to allow the most difficult part of the fight, being the polarity mechanic, to kind of become just a hair easier.
Yeah, I do love that weak aura. It's something everybody is going to have access to, I'm sure. And even having the countdown timers for any of the screw-ups, so that you see THD having those screws right behind his character right there, popping them well away from the entire party, and then everybody else getting tightly stacked in so that they're not going to bounce any polarities off each other.
Do we know what happened with Lips Warrior that we were, what was the point of that? That we were gearing up yesterday?
He's still gearing it.
I think it's still in the gearing process.
So was that for later bosses then, and not this one?
Could be for this fight as well, but you just need to make sure it's geared enough to properly get it like brought into these fights. It may not even be brought today, since there's not only item level that matters a lot, but the specialized items, Jaster Diamonds, Ayakazans, special DPS trinkets that they want to have access to, that if they've already done all their splits for the week, maybe at best he gets a normal version of it or something like that, and then next week he would get a heroic with the new splits they do.
I think that Warrior is very. I think Lips Warrior is very specifically 4 times of which they want to run like triple Windwalker and double DPS Warrior. It's because you know most of the time the people who would be playing the DPS Warrior, we're talking Smacked. We're talking Boomy. These are like the people who are flexing on the DPS Warrior, and all of them are locked away on these Windwalker monks or these Mistweaver monk. And Zasevi here, even normally a healer, crafted an agility sword, and so he's now Windwalking.
On accident, right?
That was definitely not on purpose.
So he'd like, that's funny.
But it's okay, he's Windwalking now.
Well, I think
it all worked out.
It also allows them to kind of dip into the depth of their roster, because Dryny had been kind of waiting in the wings for a while with his Mistweaver. You know, notably, he wasn't playing Pally. Pally's not in a good spot right now.
Yeah.
We know Mistweaver was super strong, and there was some speculation as to whether you'd run like Disc, and it turned out to not be the case. You know, we had some ideas about Druid DPS, but obviously we don't need the Boomkin for AoE fights. You have Mark of the Wild being brought by the Resto Druid, so they just have the depth in their roster that they can have these healers flex into DPS when they need to, and Sevi's known for playing like 15 specs really well.
Yeah, and I mean, I talked to Dryny before Mythic even started, and I was like, how would you even get in this tier? And he goes, well, if we actually had to run triple Windwalker Monk for whatever reason and still wanted to run double Mistweaver, then I would be able to see play on this monk. And whenever he said it to me, I was just like, I kind of like roll my eyes. I was like, okay, whatever, man, me too. And then somehow he's actually in right now, and they're playing triple Windwalker Monk and double Mistweaver, and he's playing Mistweaver.
I was starting to feel bad for him because he was in on Styx Bunk Junker for some of the earlier fights, and then he got sent to Key Prison.
That's right. I mean, it is frustrating when you're in that situation, but it's also an important job for those raiders that are not in right now, because there's some, like Lip, who need to go into the hyperbolic Mythic Plus chamber and just farm. And you do need to have great players clearing through those dungeons as fast as you possibly can, also getting ready for the reset so that you can have as much gear as possible before you enter into, or as many vault rewards as possible, give you the best options possible. It goes really, really far in the depth of the roster, variety of specs to be ready for next week.
I think some of the specializations that they're also starting to gear up now are Lips Warrior, Atlas Chi, so Atlas is Windwalker Monk, and Goop Swoop. Goop Swoop.
Is it a Jack theory?
It's an evoker, yeah.
Oh, Goop
so
Swoop.
I think that those are the primary characters that they're looking to factor in. And Goop was explaining to me, he said, because the raid DPS balance is so kind of jank this season, it really just forces you and pushes you towards like making more copies of these really, really overpowered specializations to the point where they might even potentially want the 4th Windwalker Monk. They might potentially want the 2nd DPS Warrior or the 2nd copy of Dev Evoker.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible because you have to keep in mind, we're still relatively early in the race to world first right now. This is boss number 5.
What do you mean? Tomorrow's Tuesday, Jack.
Isn't it? Yeah, it is Tuesday. Well, it's getting close to Tuesday.
Tuesday.
But we're not there yet.
Tuesday.
And we also know that there's going to be a lot more single target boss fights coming up as well. Notably, we're going to have a lot of single target damage required for One-Armed Bandit. And with the way the mythic coin mechanic works, where you're trying to aim coins at the attendants on that boss encounter, you're probably not trying to attribute too much damage directly to those attendants to kill them off, when the coin will do a lot of the work for you.
Yeah.
And then that's going to be a high DPS check just to kill that encounter off. You know, Muggsy, Gallywix, and onwards. You know, we've seen both those fights in heroic difficulty being predominantly single target in nature. So plenty of times where, yeah, you may not see a character or a player for an early boss fight, but they are going to come through in a big way later on down the line.
I got a bone to pick with One-Armed Bandit once we get there.
Oh.
The variance on that fight is ridiculous.
Yeah.
This mechanical monster, it does not have bones.
Is this an error on details, or did all the Windwalkers rename themselves Smacked in
No,
details?
they just, well, Liquid has access to some resources other guilds don't, and the cloning machine is up and running.
Ah, fantastic. Okay. Glad that worked out. I know they were talking about that last year, so.
It was on a need-to-know basis.
Okay. Wait, did you just leak?
Well, it's public now because there's 3 of them in there.
Oh, right,
How else would it happen?
Yeah, they have a special beta version of Details which actually has nickname functionality on it, and so they just renamed themselves Smacked on them.
Hey, that's been around for a while.
No, it's a beta version.
Oh, okay.
Exclusive.
It's a liquid. It's a liquid exclusive.
Oh, okay.
Details version. Only we have the privilege of it. That is funny though.
Chad, he didn't get the joke. He went over his head.
You know, Cell has a nickname function too.
Of course.
And when you share profiles, you can also include nicknames.
I do not. Whenever I share my profile.
So if anybody used my Cell profile and they group up with Kalamazi, it'll say Big Dog.
Wait, that's so funny.
That is
cool.
Insane work.
There's a couple more, but I won't leak them.
You just gotta go download it.
Yeah, I mean, well, I
go download it, Jack.
AutomaticJack.com.
Oh, okay. AutomaticJack.com.
All my UIs.
I'll have to write that down.
Is that a sponsor of the Race Roll First?
You asked me, so
unofficially.
I just answer questions from the host.
Yeah. Do you have any UIs that they could go download somewhere, Tettles? You can share the URL if you'd like.
No.
The world is your oyster. Okay, no UIs from Tettles. All right, we're heading into poll number 13 pretty soon here. 75% being that last poll, 68% being our best poll. We did take a look at the replay from it earlier this morning.
So yeah, as you can see on the left side of the Coinbase leaderboard, I was looking at this earlier. Echo in first place. They have around 55 polls on this boss.
Yep.
And they actually recently have had a new best. So right before we got on, their previous best was like 27.5. So around 60-ish pulls in, they have the boss down to 22.5. They still need to prog that last third phase, and so I think it's actually the third phase looked insane whenever I was watching them do it. They didn't even make it to the hardest overlap where it's like the magnets and the pulsar orbs that are like trying to like crisscross through the raid. But I mean, I think that this is probably going to end up being like 100 some odd pull boss.
Do you want to go over the third phase and why it's going to be so tough for these guilds?
I think we'll probably cover it whenever we see it, but it's just like it's because the abilities get empowered over time. Like I kind of was talking about earlier, it's like those beams. You know, they're a lot wider. The magnet, there's like a specific set where there's a magnet in the pulsar orbs that are crossing, and if somebody gets hit by it, it wipes your entire raid. So it's just like a really hectic movement situation. So. Yeah.
I think I'm really curious what the caster predictions are for this fight.
No.
And
no.
full counts
don't need to
that
look
we
at
have
those.
for this fight.
We don't need to remind ourselves.
I would love to see what everybody has.
No, I would love to see this pull of the boss because we're about to pull the boss right now. Yes.
Oh, it's okay. We can have it in the lower third. we won't miss any action.
They're not capable of that, Jack. That's too.
We won't miss any.
Too high tech.
Any lick of the action. Don't worry.
It doesn't exist.
Yep. Yep.
You're just cocky now because you had the closest.
What? I'm legitimately
You had the closest pull
curious.
count on Styx Bunk Junker.
I'm legitimately curious.
Yes, 37.
Yeah, but it was
Closer
still
than you.
it was the closest nonetheless.
Mr. 2.
1.
We were both almost 100 pulls off.
Nope. That was like 70.
Soak triangle.
You're like 100. L take. You were. That's cringe.
It would. Didn't the boss take 100? Did the boss take like 114 pulls?
Who's still the closest,
Did you
Tuttle?
watch Courage the Cowardly Dog?
No.
Oh.
Heck, I didn't have cable.
That's Tuttle's right now.
Okay.
Gosh.
Glad he got your line up there.
Dude, I have a Courage the Cowardly Dog hoodie.
Do you actually?
Yeah.
Pretty sick, actually.
Cool. What's
Oh my
who is on it? Wait, that's the one of the
Courage
dog that
the
lives.
Cowardly Dog.
That's the one that lives in the house by himself, right? It's kind of sad.
Oh no, he has
Desert or something.
His Muriel and,
Oh.
And Eustace.
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 Call him Eugene.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew it was an EU kind of thing.
That's an EU show?
EUSTIC.
I am not following this conversation apparently. I'm sorry.
Could you pass me your M?
I don't know the show. I don't know.
Pass
Oh,
me your
yes,
M.
please empty this for me.
I
Open it
gotta
for me.
crack open your M.
You said EU out of nowhere. I didn't know why you were spelling Eustace. I didn't know that was a difficult word to spell.
He said it was Eustace, and
Okay.
he almost said Eugene.
Oh,
like,
an
it's an
EU. Oh,
EU
Jesus.
sound.
All right, I'll just. Can I have a straw?
Tettles and I are.
I know.
We're yapping it up at light speed.
I'm listening. I picked up what you were putting
Oh,
down.
I know you are. Yeah. I'm just saying, we're operating fast.
Dude, we've been live barely 10 minutes. I'm already getting shamed over here. I'm sorry. I wasn't fast enough.
All right, Chad, let's bring it back to the gameplay.
That's right.
So we got Sprocketmonger down to 75%. It looks like they're about to be going into the first intermission here. I think after one more mindset. There's a little bit of a difference between Heroic and Mythic. So Heroic, you only have to do 2 sets of mines, so only 8 players have to interact with the mines on a per phase basis. Where on Mythic, you end up getting 3 sets of mines, so 12 players have to interact with those mines. It does put a 2-minute vulnerability debuff on you. So you basically have to kind of cycle through who's soaking what mine, and that's kind of where those weak auras come into effect for the team.
Oh, big
Now we're
beta
in
launch.
here, though. Yeah, and so you saw the beta launch, and right off the bat, you saw everybody getting knocked back. Realistically, a lot of the players should have been knocked a little bit further forward to be able to click that lock gate that you saw Dryny take. But then the other group, that blue polarity group, they were on the opposite side of the boss, angled towards that safe spot. So they were already pre-positioning to get completely knocked. Maybe we could get a replay on that as well, so we can kind of talk through it a little bit slower, because it happens so quickly.
Right. Maybe we get some time if they're starting to yap through some of the pulls.
Exactly.
We get a little bit of downtime, but that is going to be one of the big challenging sort of cruxes of the encounter. There are going to be a few of these they have to overcome, and this is basically where they ended last night, was having a bunch of people dead as that beta launch went off, and trying to be able to see how far they would get. Yeah, that's right.
This is only our second pull of the morning, right? Third?
Right.
Second or third?
Well, they've only had a
Already getting
handful of
best?
pulls. They've only had a handful of pulls, so now
Yeah,
it's
I'm just trying to
mainly-
spread some positivity, Jack.
Of course. Well, it's just mainly just getting everyone used to that beta launch, because basically half the raid was dead the last time they saw it last night, and so now it's like, oh, everyone else is alive.
Yeah.
Hey, I need to move 2 degrees to the left or right, and that's how I'm going to adjust my knockback.
And I actually think that looking at how a guild like Echo is actually doing that beta launch is going to save you a lot of time.
Oh, yeah.
So we kind of talk about, more often than not, whenever Liquid's leading the race, how other guilds are going to be trying to play catch up by looking at information. That beta launch and that's basically like a static thing. Pretty much every single guild is going to copy one another for the remainder of time. Jack's guild is probably going to do the exact same strat for the beta launch. Dratnos and Kalamazi's guilds are also probably going to do the same strat for the beta launch whenever they make it to these bosses. And so it's one of those things that you really are going to have to be super on top of things positioning-wise and know, all right, so I'm going to have to click the lock gate at this angle at this time. This group is, this blue group is actually going to be positioned perfectly relative on the corner of the boss. That way, whenever they get knocked with the beta launch, they don't get knocked too far to where they go sailing off the edge, but they do land on the safe spot on that conveyor belt, because like you saw momentarily, both of the middle sections of the room were just covered in this blue lightning, and that does an insane amount of damage. You don't really want to cross it, and so you have to get knocked all the way across onto that conveyor belt. And so it's like a hole-in-one. We have to have a nice fairway approach.
And that's what the gateway's for, also to avoid the blue
Exactly.
damage. Can you use other abilities to get over it, or is it too much ground area denial?
You can.
You can. The thing with the gateway too is, so whenever you're getting pushed back by the boss, you're like animation locked on some of your abilities. You can use movement effects, but the biggest thing with the gate is that the gate it doesn't cancel the pushback like it normally does, but you see right there, like he slams the gate immediately the moment the knockback starts, and so it's not like a constant pushback in the sense of it pushing you like 3 times, which would cancel you out of the gate, but you're able to go completely against the pushback with that gate. And then that blue group, you see where like Impact and Yips are, they were angling themselves to where they could actually get knocked all the way across the room to the safe spot. Some of the blue players who are playing the range, they don't have to really worry about their positioning so much, so you saw like Fired Up and Malarkus and whatnot actually getting knocked dead center down the platform. That way they wouldn't actually clutter melee, because you're going to have to make room for red and blue melee DPS to allow the red and blue players to continue to have 100% melee uptime on the boss. And all of the red players are also going to be on that same right side with Sprocketmonger there. And so, yeah, we're running the replay once more. I think it's honestly just like such a cool part of this fight.
Yeah, it is. And I think this is an area where you also have a lot more chaos as you're trying to adjust those positionings early on. You kind of have to put a little bit of extra faith in people using like their personals as well to kind of just play to live in these moments.
Yeah.
And this is where the DPS check is probably going to come into play a little later on down the line, because you'll definitely be seeing people using defensives, using self-healing, not optimizing their damage for the first few pulls to make sure that at all costs they get to where they need to stand and then are getting into position.
How many pulls do you think it's going to take them to before they actually get consistent with that beta launch?
I don't think it's going to take too many.
Yeah.
The way that really defensives in WoW work these days is you could probably just optimize it around everybody hit your largest defensive at these beta launch points.
Yeah.
Stack healing cooldowns now that they have 4 healers to make sure that they can just kind of muscle heal through some of the areas on what you would call the normal phase.
You want to waste it on that, though?
For the beta launch,
yeah.
At this point, it's not really a waste.
It's a lot of damage.
It's a lot of damage, but
yeah,
it's also a lot of suboptimal movement that's going to happen early on, where you might have to roll across some of the wire transfer electrified fields. Early on, you might stand in a few extra puddles or something along those lines early, and then as you get better at the fight, you're less reliant upon those things. And I think that's probably where they're going to be at early in the attempts. But also, there's a number of healers that they have in their composition that require a lot of setup. And so there's always a challenge, pretty much for all the 3 healer specializations of, okay, how do I make sure I do enough healing so people don't bleed out? But also, how do I make sure I don't die as well? Mistweaver Monk notably has a lot of setup when it comes to their Yu'lon, where they want to optimize a lot of the secondary haste benefits. You have Thunder Focus Tea, which gives you a haste benefit from casting Renewing Mist with the Secret Infusion talent, and their Invoke Yu'lon from some of the other supporting talents is also going to optimize your haste. Challenge is, you need to be able to stand still long enough to start blanketing the raid in Enveloping Mist, which applies the Enveloping Breath buff, which increases their healing taken, does tons of output, and they can also extend the duration of those healing over time effects. So Spatial Paradox from the Lone Evoker is going to be at an absolute premium. I would be curious to see who is going to be getting it.
It's got to be the disc, right?
This does benefit a lot from it, but I don't know if they are going to have disc ramps specifically at those intermission phases, as opposed to having it for the mines.
Yeah.
So the mines, which you're going to see right here, is a really insane time for the disc ramp, because you can just stand still the entire period. And the way Oracle disc ramps work is they're actually a little bit longer of a duration than you might see at a Void Weaver. I still haven't seen which of the hero specs he's running just yet, but because it takes a longer time to have all of this damage going out, I would believe that he'd be running with like 1.5-minute Oracle type timers, at least so far.
I guess you could see
he just did like 3.5 million HPS, or excuse me, that's 5.5 million HPS for his first ramp.
Not bad.
Covered everything.
Hey.
And so if you're having a healer utilizing their ramp sequence for the intermission, they might be a better target for the Spatial Paradox. Here I think you're going to see Siri rising up into the air with the Ultimate Penitence buff, or the Ultimate Penitence ability. I believe he uses it around this spot so that he can, once again, blanket the Radiant Atonements and also do a huge amount of output. So you can kind of cover both of the first 2 large damage sequences there.
Oh. 2 deaths on Sang and Malarkus. It looks like they ended up either going down to the screw-ups or getting hit by a missile. It is definitely one of the 2. It didn't look like they ended up contacting with the opposite side polarity. So the opposite side polarity, Whenever you see this mechanic more often than not, you kind of think of something like an Anduin or like a Maiden of Virtue, where it's immediately going to wipe your raid. And it's not exactly like that. Basically what it does is it does like a 25-yard insanely hard pushback, and then it puts a dot onto you, which read the dot as death. Like, you can live it in the sense of, you know, it's possible, but you're not going to live it because the dot is just way too strong.
Yeah, here we have another polarity swap and everything before they're getting themselves ready for that beta launch. Here it comes right now. So big key area that everyone needs to live.
So whenever you're doing the beta launch sequence, what you have to identify is immediately what color you're actually getting swapped into, because the polarity switch happens so close to that beta launch sequence. And so whenever you determine what color you are, you have to determine what side of the boss you're going to need to be standing on, and whether or not you're going to be looking to press the gate or get knocked to that safe spot. So Boomy actually just ended up getting knocked down the line and then just crossed the void zone with his Transcendence. Totally fine. You're not really too worried about that. But for other people who don't have that, like say somebody like Yips, he's going to need to get like knocked all the way onto that far side.
Yeah, and making sure that you optimize that knockback is insanely important, and it's going to be a key point to make sure you're reducing the damage taken. You can already see so next round of mines going off, and they were popped a little bit slower, and so it kind of sped up the sequence. People are trying to make up for it, and mines go off. Ba-boom.
What I will say, and this is a part of this fight that I actually love, I think it's one of those things that they need to continue to progress this beta launch sequence, right? That's causing the biggest amount of problems that are right now. You know, there are going to have a couple people dead, but it's not the end of the world. The beta launch is something that you have to do twice in this fight, and you know, I think that just making sure that it's super optimal both times that you're doing it, making sure that there's no mistakes, is going to be a huge deal, because the third time the beta launch is supposed to happen, the boss is enraged and he basically one-shots you. He casts, I don't know, the big boom or something like that. And it's
like
just like,
boom or
instead of beta launch, he is sending you to the moon and you just die.
Like big bada boom.
Something, something goblinish.
Any Fifth Element enjoyers?
Sonic Baboom.
No?
Sonic
Baboom.
Oh, fifth. Oh, yeah.
Sonic.
Hey!
Hey!
It is. It's Sonic Baboom. But yeah,
All right, she got that reference.
He keeps making these obscure media references, and I don't know that.
That's a great movie.
Perhaps not obscure, but see, I know the movies. I don't know the shows.
There we go.
We got a lot of DVDs.
Okay.
But yeah, Sonic Baboom. So that's the hard. It's a hard enrage.
So Sonic Baboom is pretty frequent damage that happens in the encounter. It is coming in conjunction a lot of times with, you know, the foot bomb mines going off, or it's going in conjunction with the Goblin Bomb Party Pack, which is debuffing the tanks and causing them to jump out of the raid. It's always a combo that is becoming more lethal. Most of the abilities in a vacuum are not that lethal on their own, but they have like combos of multiple different mechanics all happening together, and that's what's really causing a lot of problems. Big area though is if you're utilizing a lot of defensives or off healing to live and make sure you survive that beta launch, then you kind of end up at this point where you're a little bit dry as you're going into that first set of mines, and so that'll be a huge challenge, as I believe they've used, I'm trying to math it out in my head, basically before they enter into the intermission, I think they have their second large disc ramp, which kind of keeps them healthy going into that intermission. And then I want to say, I'm going to check on this next poll, I want to say that they're utilizing Dryne's POV, or we're going to check out Dryne's POV on that next intermission. I believe they have Spatial Paradox for him, so that he's able to take advantage of his Yu'lon ramp. That would probably be how I would set up some of these healing cooldowns. So he has the job of basically being in like a perfect position, get Spatial Paradox, which increases the range of his abilities and allows him to cast on the move, and that allows him to start covering the entire raid in large healing over time effects, keep everyone healthy.
Yeah.
But this is just like with DPS. You have to prioritize your own survivability first.
Exactly.
You put your mask on before you're helping others. So it's a really big challenge when you're not able to perfectly sort of cover the raid in the healing that you want to do for that intermission.
Oh.
And then some people might just kind of bleed out due to lack of healing as you're getting yourself set up.
If you didn't catch that, they reset the boss rather quickly right there, and then they immediately dropped all 5 Transcendences on top of that spot where they'll have to actually port for the polarity during the beta launch.
Well, as they head into this next pull, we're going to go to a Monster Energy listen-in.
5, 4, 3.
Big Soya does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
It always happens during mine, so that's a good.
But you need to have something when you're popping the mine as well. Just in case you get popped.
Personal. Fading drills ranged. No bad drills. Personal if you get drills every time.
I don't enjoy this move.
Okay, get ready for lasers. Falling in 3.
Let's try a little experiment.
Oh, you should wait until the next mindset after this one. Wait for the mine on the conveyor. Go.
Nice. Okay, look at wire transfers, mines, drills, and we're getting a polarity slap in like 20.
I can drill this one.
Bait drills, and then we're getting in melee, right? Bait drills, bait drills. Cast now. Nice. Now everyone should go in melee if you don't drill.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Bait, everyone's in melee now. Someone did some absolutely insane shit, I'm pretty
That was
sure.
crazy.
Okay, but now let's just try dodging. We can still learn here. Like, see if dodging works. If this is just piss. Everyone dodge that one. Okay, we're doing pops. Watch fired up, he's on fire.
Can res me, by the way.
I don't need sec.
Needs to be a red. Needs to be a red res on Journey.
You got so lucky.
It's whatever.
I mean, the thing is that's like super dangerous for you, but you were just there way later than you ever should have been because of delays.
Watch out, red.
I had ice cold. I was just playing around it thingy and stuff.
Yeah. Practice the intermission gate. Color shopping soon. One more tank thing.
What'll happen if I do this?
Okay, getting knocked in 3, 2, 1 now. That time the gate was a little closer to the conveyor belt. Did anyone get knocked off there?
Yes, I did. I was very close. I walked against it.
I think right there the gate was like, should just be 1 yard closer to the middle.
Well, someone requested it. That's
Yeah, go back.
A little bit this time.
I just moved it slightly closer because of request. It's all good.
That's a good thing to test. It's fine. Probably we're gonna just die here, but we'll see.
About to just bounce the whole raid.
Lock in, bro. Lock in.
Boom.
Okay.
You doing this thing about the bounce?
Did someone have a mental breakdown on the second set of things there? Like someone got knocked?
So someone from
It was on the drills. I don't know what.
Some shit went down for sure.
like rolled straight into the red pile and just knocked all the red melee.
Don't worry.
That's why I'm asking before I look at it. Did someone know they did something bad?
I got a great PV of me.
Are you
and
talking
just
about
knocked
me?
straight into a screw.
I'm talking about right here. Here's what I said.
It was
I said bait
Zapdos
mines.
hovered over after his drill into the red camp.
Yeah, it's a hover proc.
Oh, okay, that's why. Yeah.
It's actually
That's why I asked if anyone had a Menti B. I wouldn't have even bothered looking it up.
So I don't need these reminders to immune those rockets anymore.
I don't think so, but it's possible that you still want to do it for consistency, maybe. But I think if you just go, if you're always on the other side of the room from the rockets, I think it's piss.
I'll just delete them for now.
Also, you're gonna you might as well do that now, right? Because you're gonna have to do that in the last phase with the orbs anyway. You can't have someone soak orbs, right? So I feel like you should just get in the rhythm of it.
Is dropping the very first set of drills on the middle conveyor belt fine?
Sorry, say that again?
The very first set of drills.
Okay, so when we're
The
here?
dropping on the center conveyor belt fine?
No. Oh wait,
Okay, then
here?
someone...
Here? Like
well,
in
the
this
problem is like if I'm blue and I'm gonna soak 3 right now, and
I think it is
we get drills right before that. I have to move from the blue side to 3. 8 drills before that, soak 3, and then move back all in the middle of my ramp, and that's extremely cringe to do.
Yeah.
If I can drop drills like in the center conveyor belt, it's fine.
That's also a
just
code red. That's
pre-position.
like giga unlucky line.
I can maybe I can change.
No, I'm doing that one every single time.
I can change the order, sorry. So I think it should
Yeah, if I
prioritize
get
you
the
on.
very first one, then
Wait, let me change it back so it's backwards.
I was
gonna mention something about that too. I was gonna mention something about that too.
Yeah, but
we could also do. Can you put Shaq farther back in the melee priority so he's less likely to get picked during that wave?
Which one?
You said
It's purely 2M 2R. Just have Shaq at the end of the list on Exile because he's the only person that's potentially in their cooldowns there.
I mean, I was trying to mention what Hans was saying, but if you're soaking X, you literally get drills while you're having to blow it up, so you can't put them in the orb sites there.
Yeah.
Then we just have to
So you
play
have to
around
either
There has to be like a melee assignment for that one.
Someone mobile has to.
What is X? Is X 1R or 1M?
It's usually...
It's 1M, right?
3M, wasn't it?
That's the third one.
Max just had
I mean, couldn't we just change the priority in the note instead of soaking diamond then triangle? You just soak diamond then X, and then it's GG. Problem solved.
Whatever I was assigned to these last pulls is good, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying it's due to RNG check. It's not always going to be the same. So it needs to be. Actually, no.
Okay.
I think the second melee will always.
Good. Yeah, it's always good if I'm second on that.
Okay, 1 second. We need. It needs to look like this. Right. This solves the problem because if drills are back here, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, 3 needs to be triangle or skull. Doesn't really matter.
So in this set, you would actually do 2 blues first.
Sorry, Bart, get on that.
I just saw Bart walk by me, so for the next couple pulls, we won't have it. But let's go.
Let's see if this works enough, anyways. The note tune.
I fucking love when
Oh
that
wait, no,
procs
the
for
note
Bart.
change should change it because it's having the melee.
It should just make it so Hans is always doing the easiest one right now.
Well, no, it's not even making Hans do the easiest one. It's making melee healers who can't get targeted by drills do the ones that are in the way of where we're going. So it's also solving drills at the same time. Except for... No, yeah, so Smacked is getting the non-shitty one here, right? We need to, just in general, guys, whole guild, we need to do all these mind pops faster.
First, I should just stand up when it spawns always.
Get those casts up.
I would say on average, every single one of them's like a half second late.
The BCX.
Watch the mine before you move over here, guys. Let it go, let it move, let it go, and go.
That mine is very buggy.
Why that's just bugged as fuck. Okay, never mind. Careful.
Okay, mine's here.
5, 4, 3.
Okay, Zeddy 2.
Yeah, the aggro.
We're getting drills. And then everyone move into the boss if you don't get drills. Move into the boss if you don't get drills.
I'll be fun now.
And we're dodging beams and rockets. Get near the boss on each other's sides. We have a ton of space here. Watch rockets. Good. Switching polarity. Okay, drills in 5 seconds ranged. Make sure they're nowhere near the melee here. Drills in 3, 2, 1. Drill cast. Okay, and then we have conventions, and then we're getting the last set. Dodge here. Guys, this is with the suck. Dodge the mines. Great job. Great job. Holy shit. Okay, ready to go?
I'm dragging the boss.
You ready for polarity shift? Okay, make sure you take it no earlier than 0 if possible, guys. Polarity shift here first. Blue, don't get knocked too close to red. Red is gating. 3, 2, 1. W. Dodge. There's mines on the conveyor belt as well, guys. Watch them. KSP, you don't need to soak those.
They're on the side. You don't get hit by them.
Okay, so for positioning after this, I think it's going to burn the far one, and then there's like 2 ranged. This is like same side ranged, right? It's not like the diagonal. It's like the linear one. This is terminology. Okay, make sure the boss is in the middle. Switch polarity, get the boss centered. Suri is 1 for mines here. Drills on the conveyor belts or to the edge. Don't bait them where we're going. Drills in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, tank bomb in as well. Okay, and then big beams are in 5 seconds. These are big beams, boys, but with no other missiles during it, so we can just boss blast.
Where's the boss going after this?
Sprint down
across
after this.
the room.
We're going to the other side of the room.
Yeah.
Middle blue people, you can use the middle conveyor belt to go faster, by the way. Blue, take the middle conveyor belt on the way over. Like at the airport, you know what I mean? Mine's here.
Oh yeah. You guys need to get way further. Like you guys are so slow here.
Okay.
My mine.
Nick. Max. And then impact. You're far blue, by the way.
Yeah, I see that.
Is it shield? Big beams and rockets, guys.
This is the hunter turtle. You have one.
Yep.
I don't.
This is where we need this is the turret soak.
Yeah, those are the immunes, yeah.
Yeah, that's the immune missile soak. Okay, guys, that pull was fucking sick. Also, good job, Smacked.
5, 4,
My
Oh, it looks like it's already fixed.
Dude, Smack is absolutely shitting on the boss right now.
Literally 3 clones, by the way.
And he's healing as well.
Guys, how the fuck were we ever gonna free heal this?
Yeah, the damage
Like,
is pretty
3 million
chill, guys, bro.
HPS on fucking free healers. Like, this is
more
actually...
disc. Well, we could go like a second disc just for more damage if we need it. But
I feel like we make 0 plays for damage until we realize that's an issue. Think we play safety man. I think our comp is already really good, right?
yeah, Resoldier is really good on the spikes.
Do we make better? Where I have a question about cooldowns. Where are our 2 rallies right now?
Nowhere. I should have
you.
told you to flex them. I'm trying to fix Smack's cooldowns. Yeah, just call them like if
Okay,
you can.
cool. Yeah, I can. I didn't know.
They won't be up always in the same spot in the phase.
For the 305 mindset that the one we just had for 5 minutes.
Oh, I think we're moving Smack to that spot.
Yeah, we are moving Smack to we're moving Smack to the convokes.
P1s. Do we need to like go over a good-looking P1? That looked fucking locked down. That
Yo,
looked
KSP
really...
almost wiped me out, by the way.
That was good.
When was that, sorry?
I'll show you.
Did that call help for the blue people to take the conveyor belt over on your way? I feel like it's like airport mode.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, that was sick.
Airport mode.
I'll show you. I'll show you.
Is it on that set we just wiped to? Is it? Can we swap so range soak first, so we don't have to deal with
sure. Let's talk. We can talk about it.
Like coming back to the group as beams are coming out.
Let's
I
look at
altered
it.
back to the group and I was just in a thing. I feel like it's really tight.
Well, it was also very slow, but like here, let's wait for mines to come out. Let's see how much time we wasted on mines just for.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back from that monster. Listen in. We are getting some proggy here on Sprocketmonger Lock and Stock, and we can take a look at a replay from that last poll in case you missed it.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to take some time. I wasn't doing too much during the break, so I wanted to kind of show off this beta launch sequence because this is going to be the biggest part of this fight that they're going to be looking to prog. So immediately go into a wire transfer where the polarities are changing. So the beta launch, all the red players here are going to click a Warlock gate. All the blue players, they're getting knocked, and you can see like Donkey Gary and stuff. They're trying to land on this side platform. If the monks get or they have blue, they're going to immediately transcend. Same with like the Warlock ports and whatnot. Whereas if you're red, you automatically click the gate. The only rule is like all the red players are forced to click the gate. That way there's going to be no mistakes on that movement. The blue players, no matter what movement effect that they're going to use to be able to make it over to that platform, it doesn't really matter. There are some players like Yips who, you know, he could in theory bubble and run through all the ground effect there, but realistically he's just going to need to get knocked to the correct spot. That beta launch sequence is going to be mirrored on the opposite side during moving into the final phase, and so it's really going to be important that Liquid gets consistent with that beta launch and that knockback.
5,
Yeah, what I'm very excited
4,
to see is how
3,
quickly
2,
that's going to
1.
kind of come together. It's only been 16 pulls, but they've also had the advantage of being able to have their analyst squad looking at what Method and Echo are also doing with their attempts. They might be adjusting some of their strategies, and it's getting to the end of Echo's day, and so now we are just getting started with Liquids as a result. Especially, the nice part about it as well is that there's not vast differences from heroic difficulty, especially when the empowered inventions are coming along. They've already seen what those parts of the fight look like. Now it's just a goal to see how they're going to position very small groups together and optimize their space. We're already seeing some of those screw-ups getting brought to the edge of the room.
4, 3,
But they also have to be
2,
dodging rockets
1.
at the exact same time that they're in a very, very narrow position, and it can get absolutely insane very quickly as you see them wiping.
All right, well, definitely a solid morning this morning so far. Are you guys surprised that it took them this long to start getting significant progress? I mean, that was only the 5th-ish pull this morning.
No, I mean I think they've only put 15 pull. Yeah, so that was the 16th pull in total. I think that I think it makes sense the cadence of which they were progging. Whenever they killed Styx Bunk Junker, they probably, I want to say they had like 4 or 5 hours in the remainder of their evening, and they decided instead their time was going to be better spent, you know, doing some Mythic Plus runs, getting a little bit of gear. They did a split for like a Lip War character and stuff like that. So it's more about volume of pulls on this boss. I'm not really shocked that they're actually progressing quite quickly in my opinion.
Awesome. Oh, and also good news, or bad news, depending on how you want to look at it. We do have a hot fix also coming into this boss that I think went in before that last pull, right?
Yeah, so it apparently Mythic Sprocketmonger has had his health reduced from 12.9 billion down from 13.6, and the boss did start that last pull that we just watched at that 12.92 billion HP mark.
Yeah, but go ahead.
I love to see the timing for this. No guild is in kill range just yet. Echo, Liquid, EU team, or sorry, Echo team, Echo Method, all the EU teams have until Wednesday for their weekly reset.
The Europeans.
Is going to, of course, be tomorrow, so I think the expectation of getting this boss killed and not also having, let's say, the insane DPS check levels that we had Styx Bunk Junker.
They should never nerf any boss ever. Leave the bosses as they were.
Eventually, you sort of hit a point where you've done all these mechanics, and you're still early, relatively speaking, in the raid environment, so I am glad to see that they're having some slight nerfs coming in for these kind of fights, because there's not really any reason we should have another Nexus Princess Kaveza incident where you do all the mechanics perfectly and properly, and then you're still kind of missing some little bit of...
Didn't they hit Kaveza with a 5% HP nerf and it was still...
I think it was like 2 or 3%.
Oh.
It was something like slight and just enough for them to get over the hill onto it. They also made changes right after the world first kills to disincentivize the one tank strategy.
I think it's totally fine. Like
I think it's good timing. And
yeah. No, like you said, no guilds in kill territory. Now, you know, Liquid and Echo are going to have some of their like new best pulls. It's going to basically just make it easier to have your next best pull, even if you had a similar pull on that old HP threshold. And so, you know, it's one of those things that neither of the guilds are in kill territory. I think it's going to make it more likely that we actually see this boss go down for Liquid today.
Well, here we go. Pull number 17 here. Currently looking at 46.75 as our best pull yet. Just kind of working through some of the kinks so far. What do we expect to see the second most deaths to in terms of mechanics? Right now they're working on the beta launcher, it seems like, Jack. After that, what do you think is the most difficult thing we're going to be seeing them struggle through?
I think they're about to hit a point in their progress when they start getting to the 40% range again, where they have to deal with the empowered void beams.
Yeah.
Take up a lot of space. And while they directly are not going to kill anybody, they're not going to be standing in those, they also have the normal rockets, which are going out at the exact same time that the void beams are going out. And what this is really going to do is push everybody into a very narrow space that they have to basically allow the tanks to start soaking a lot of the rockets for them and sort of protecting the rest of the group. And it's going to be imperative for them to make sure that the tanks can do that job while also making sure that they're taking care of the foot bombs.
It's interesting that you say tanks. I actually think
they're getting knockbacks too, bouncing all over the place.
Yeah, that's gonna be
a bunch of deaths.
It's gonna be a total wipe. I think it's one of those situations. You said the tanks are gonna do it. I actually, funnily enough, think it's gonna be like Hunters and Turtle.
Oh,
possibly.
I think you're gonna sit a Hunter and Turtle in immunity there.
The problem with that though is you don't know which polarity they're going to be on consistently enough.
Exactly.
And so it's a lot easier to just paints up the tank and then have them run through and then body block. But also, we haven't really seen an enormous amount of tank pressure on the fight so far. It's kind of like, okay, you make sure you get your Goblin party pack, you run out of the raid, you hit a defensive or something. The fight, at least from what I've seen, has not been too brutal for it. And the off tanks are able to position themselves so that they can body block with the rockets there.
What type of damage is it? Could you spell word it?
Maybe, but I would not use spell word for that.
Could you nether walk?
You'd be in a. I don't see any reason why a tank just can't eat it. You know, they're not taking so much damage. And if you're going to use spell warding, I'd be better served on one of the healers for beta launch sequences.
It's kind of interesting. I mean, I watched Echo using Turtle, but like
you could use it too.
Exactly.
It's just a matter of consistency.
Of course.
Like, we're going to have this happen every single time, no matter what. I'm sure it's a good use for it as well.
Yeah,
I would imagine if they tried to turtle any of the empowered rockets.
Oh, that'll wipe your raid.
That would just wipe your raid out. Yeah, so you might as well like get the use in on the normal rockets when you can to optimize damage.
Exactly. It's gonna be kind of interesting. I mean, we're close. Basically, we're kind of progressing through this beta launch sequence, and you know, there's gonna be some individual spot deaths here and there that are gonna consistently kind of plague Liquid here. for basically the end of until the boss basically dies. It's so easy. You just have like one-off deaths, like random stuff, whether or not it was somebody accidentally walked on somebody else with the polarity, whether it's somebody ended up taking a little bit too much damage to a mine and didn't get healed just slightly too much. But yeah, it's kind of one of those things. What are you laughing at?
The picture of Maybe in the weak auras. I didn't know that I took that picture and I didn't know it made it into the weak aura update thing.
They have the best.
I feel bad now. That was maybe on the set for our announcement shoot last year. He looks very sad. We've made him do a lot of acting, and he was not in his comfort zone. So the beta launch, it happens twice, right? The second one, is it harder? Or is it's just the same?
It's mirrored, so it's on the
okay.
You see like that they're dropping those transcendences on that skull side.
Yeah.
It's just on the opposite side.
Okay, so that's it. No,
it might be harder in the sense of there are slightly different mechanics that happen right before that beta launch, but it's not harder movement wise or like setup wise, right? You have to move your lock gate. You may not have the transcendence, or they're gonna have to pre-set up the transcendence on the other side again. Those are the type of things that you have to be watching out for, but it's not harder.
Right. It's the same but different, but still same.
Exactly.
Sometimes just doing it in the opposite order is going to look a little bit different. They have to they just sort of get used to it. The other thing is, if you're holding on to a lot of cooldowns or defensives for one of those knockbacks, then you have to make sure you have something else for the other one. It's one of those things, they see it a couple times, they'll get used to it, and then they'll be able to continue progressing further.
Cool.
What I'm really excited to see is how they're going to deal with the second round of the empowered inventions.
Oh yeah, the void orbs.
Yes.
Those, I think that's going to be the hardest part of the fight.
I think that's going to be an insane part, especially when they have to optimize damage. I don't think that the DPS check is going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. They're probably going to get, much like they did on Heroic, to where they have the empowered void beams, empowered rockets, magnet going off, and they're just dodging for their lives. And then they're going to have to kill right there.
I think that happens around the 10% mark. I think that's going to be where a large portion of the wipes happen. But the first time you actually are able to make it all the way through that, you kill the boss. That's
especially cleanly.
That would be ideal for like a first boss kill, especially after catching a 5% HP nerf. So with the 5% HP nerf, I'm kind of expecting this to still take like 100 pulls or something.
100 pulls.
Wait, we gotta see what our pull prediction.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I could guess. I think mine was around 20.
I said 15, so I'm already wrong.
Okay.
I hope next time we can do pull predictions after we see heroic difficulty, because it's such a good bellwether of like how difficult these encounters are going to be.
No, it's fun to look stupid.
Tough to do it blindly.
I should just make my pull predictions next time based off of how difficult the fights were during PTR testing and nothing else. And if the boss is unkillable, I'll just write in unkillable.
Honestly, that's a good. Okay, I'm gonna pitch this now while everyone's listening. That could be a segment we can do instead while we're filling time doing splits. Is all the casters kind of poke through their prediction and why they're making those numbers, why they're making those prediction numbers. That could be a thing.
Yeah.
We run out of stuff to talk about during splits anyways. Max does it. Why can't we?
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Did you guys see the Franck video?
I did.
I did. Did you see it, Tuttles?
Yeah.
I wonder if Franck would allow us to play that. It was
He posted it on XD Everything app.
It was
up in public.
It was. I think it was Max being like, "Oh, Styx is gonna be so easy." Cut to, there are 9 bombshells.
Yeah, it was. I think the actual quote was like, "When was the last time a fourth boss was over 15 pulls?"
Right. Yes. Yeah. Correct.
Because why?
It's
literally why.
Yes. My favorite Franck posts are the ones where he just owns Max. Franck being, of course, Max's editor, if people weren't aware.
Master editor.
He made a beautiful video of sort of the World of Warcraft and its sentiment to him. If anybody wants to go check that out, so shout out Franck.
Yeah. The GOAT.
The GOAT. Seen a couple deaths here.
It's
Number
fine.
17.
I think there's still a lot that you can learn even with a couple deaths here. They need to feel out the mines as well.
Right.
In the sense of like the mines positioning.
They felt them out a little too much there.
Exactly. But that's exactly what I was talking about, right? Where without actually making it to this phase a bunch of times, you don't know that that mine is likely to be placed right there. And so they were doing the wire transfer phase, and somebody accidentally just like ran into the mine that was like that spawned right in front of them, which it happens. It'll get fixed. It's just like a movement optimization thing that takes time.
Do we expect? Do we feel like we're solid on this comp right now? I know that's kind of a difficult question to answer, but are there going to be any adjustments? Do we think?
Probably not for a while. Not. I mean, it would be nice to have the lip war if it was perfectly geared, but I think that's probably a next week angle.
Okay.
So
for a reclear for this, or you mean for some of the later bosses?
For like later bosses, I think that they've recognized it's a long-term goal that they would like to make sure they have another warrior at their disposal, and so that's something they're focusing on a little bit later on down the line.
Right.
I mean, I definitely don't think they need to change anything with healing. They're probably adjusting cooldowns here and there, something along those lines, but otherwise, the healing comp is super strong.
I think if they're going to change comp at all, it's going to be like 1 DPS specialization, but like you can move around some of the stuff. Maybe you think that this second mage is redundant and you want to, I don't know. I was about to say another Windwalker monk, but I don't even know where we would take one from. But like,
yeah, who else has got one?
Are they both playing fire? I can't see the other one on the damage meters.
I suspect they're both playing fire.
Okay, fire's a popular choice. It seems like, which I feel, aren't they like simming kind of similarly? I know that they're more. I guess fire is more single target. Is that why we're going fire?
Fire and Arcane both sim about the same on single target. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's probably just ease of play on this fight. Arcane requires a lot of setup, a lot of hard casting, especially if you mess up any of your globals during your burst or your cooldowns, it's like a huge deal. Where fire has a lot more damage on the move, a lot more instant cast globals as well, because they spend a large portion of their time in combustion, so they have a lot of free pyroblasts that are instant cast. So I think it's probably just like you're casting on the move on a fight that's like I wouldn't say it's like heavy movement, but it's like there's a lot of movement that is required on this fight in a way that it wouldn't be. You're not planted in hard casting the entire time like you'd want for Arcane.
Definitely in the intermissions you are.
If you had to play Arcane, you could. Like if it was like hundreds of thousands of DPS better, you absolutely could play Arcane on a boss like this.
But why would you if fire is simming the same?
Exactly. If it's similar, that's kind of the thought process. If it's similar, there's no way you're going to play something that's like noticeably harder.
Yeah.
Especially if you can play both the specializations at the same level.
Yeah. All right. Well, here we go into another poll. Are they lusting on poll?
Yeah.
It's like
lusting on poll is, I think, the only real option here.
Yep.
You want to multiplicatively stack that bloodlust with all of your offensive CDs here, and just to be able to optimize for the highest amount of damage. So you just are going to slam that on poll immediately.
Kind of the only area you can stand still in tunnel DPS for a bit.
Yeah, exactly. You even get those Mist Weavers doing infinite dam too.
True.
Dude,
yeah, they do a ton.
That's one of the biggest differences between Mistweaver and some of the other healers that you're going to see like in raid during this race world first is Mistweavers. They do like 600,000 or 700,000 DPS. It is crazy how much damage they're able to do.
Yeah, and part of that is due to the rushing wind kick, and it's the new ability, sort of, you could say, for the War Within in general, which has replaced Rising Sun Kick for a raiding environment, and it just does a crazy amount of damage on its own.
Yeah.
In addition, they can flex into the Jade Empowerment talent, which gives them additional lightning damage, which does a lot of single target damage. And it doesn't do a ton of healing in a raid environment, because you have to take some other talents to optimize it further, but you could basically just take it for additional damage without losing too much healing and still be popping off.
Yeah, Dryny was telling me that he was Count Dooku lightning the territorial bombshell spawns on sticks.
Yeah.
He was actually able to almost solo one from 100 to 75 to get it out of the ground.
Yeah, it's really, really big damage.
It's really good. Mistweaver's quite strong damage-wise, which is so funny. Looks like it's going to be a wipe here for Liquid. They had a kind of a catastrophe, I would say, with the polarity mechanic there. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, they really did, and unfortunately it's going to be another wipe that they have going on. They have moved around their healing cooldowns a little bit too, so that they can better survive this intermission phase. I think they really just have like Nyx, Convoke, and Flourish, and that's about it, beyond just like personal defensive. So they kind of gotten down,
how they want to move around the room. They just have to make sure that they're going to be in the right position, right time to make sure they get through it.
It's probably a good time to just press up your personals right there. It does make sense. It's not necessarily something that your healers want to be. They're not necessarily able to actually commit a ton of HPS there. You're kind of speculating maybe on the spatial paradox, but the spatial's not going to be up for the next time that they have to do that beta launch sequence, so you're going to have to figure something out for that.
They've been holding the spatial, notably. I've been keeping an eye on it, and they haven't been using it consistently. I'm not sure if they're going to be using it in the intermission when we have everyone alive. I haven't been seeing it going.
They'll figure out a spot to use it. It's more of a question of like long term where you're going to want it, and so I think that actually waiting to assign it until you absolutely think that you need it is probably in the best interest, because that way people aren't becoming like reliant on that spatial.
Could you explain what spatial paradox is and why that's such an important cooldown?
Jack.
So it increases the range of all of your abilities, which is really valuable in this encounter. And it comes from the evokers. It's one of their like class capstones, and it also is allowing you to cast on the move. So it's kind of a double effect for this encounter in particular. But they should be mapping out specifically, like you should rely on it. In fact, they should have a very consistent area as to when you use it this entire encounter, as they have enough personal movement that they don't really need the time spiral effect, which resets your personal defense or your personal movement ability. But there should be a moment that they are expecting to use it every single time. And I've noticed they've been using their Invoke Yulans from the Mistweaver Monks, their major Enveloping Mist empowered cooldown, predominantly for any of the mines that the Disc Priest does not have the ramp. So it might end up that they're going to utilize a Siri ramp for the second of the beta launches if the timers align in that vein, because Disc does need a bit of assistance if they were ever going to ramp during that intermission. But the mines is a little bit more profitable.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting decision. You're never having a Rested Druid ramp the beta launch sequence, right?
You could. I mean, you could convoke Flourish, and then the beta launch goes out, everyone gets spread to the 4 winds, you have good hots ticking. I'm pretty sure that's what Nick is doing.
But then you wouldn't even need spatial there, right?
Correct. You could end up using spatial during a regular phase, since you might have, screw ups going out, you might have some of the larger dodges going out from rockets right before mines are coming out, which would be really helpful. So there are a number of good areas. It's just a matter of what's the best spot for it.
It's kind of interesting because in that beta launch sequence, it's like the Rested Druid never needs the spatial just because of how they heal, and so then you would. Maybe it actually is being saved for the second beta launch, because there are it's like 2 minutes in between both of those, and so you actually wouldn't get that spatial back up because it's on a 3-minute CD.
Right, you would either have to use it twice during these regular phases, which most of the time you can play around, or you would just use it that one time.
I mean, using it during these regular phases,
it's
not bad, but it's like it's predetermined, and you kind of know what you're moving as a group anyways, and it would be valuable, right? Especially if you're pre-setting up a Radiance ramp right before you're gonna pop mines, right as you have to move. It can absolutely be useful, but it's more of a question of where exactly is the perfect time for using that spatial paradox, because you're probably getting one during this fight. You can maybe squeak out a second one if you find a really good time to use it right here, but it looks like it's gonna be one for the fight type of situation.
Yeah, that's often how it goes. You either find one perfect cast or 2 kind of mediocre.
Yeah.
Out of it.
And funnily enough, for DPS cooldowns, you always take the 2 mediocre uses.
Yeah.
But for healer utility, yeah, I think you probably just always said the perfect cast, and that way your healer can just hard carry you.
Yeah, and it's an interesting part, especially with healing these days, that you often want to make sure you're using minimal defensive cooldowns when certain healers are using their main cooldowns. Rested Druid's Flourish is strong, but it's not just pushing up health pools multiple times over. But a Disc Priest ramp, maybe even a Monk's ramp, can do so much output that you don't need to have as many defensives going out at that moment, and you would actually want to use it a little bit later.
Oh my gosh, we have a wire transfer polarity incident, taking out 5 people, putting a massive dot on the entire raid. It's going to end up wiping them. Very unfortunate situation there. They're just going to need to get a little bit more consistent with that wire transfer, this polarity mechanic. It's not super surprising. We're only 20 pulls in. This feels like, they're not making a new best in terms of HP, but they're continuing to learn. It's one of those things that they're going to take, 2 to 3 minutes in between each and every single pull. What can we learn from that last pull and apply apply that to the next pull. And then eventually, you know, deaths in phase 1 are going to get banned. Making a mistake with the polarity and having somebody accidentally stacked on top of the stack with the wrong color is going to get banned, and then you're no longer allowed to do it. Otherwise, you're going to get, I don't know,
blown up,
attacked, perhaps.
Maybe. Well, I mean, kind of like you said, Tuttles, it's 20 fights in. There's a lot of repetition still to be done early in the day as well, which is very good. So considering where we are, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like the vibes are coming. This is exciting. This is exciting, boss.
I think this boss could die today.
I think it could for sure.
You're a believer?
Yeah, 100%.
Yesterday, I was very not hopeful that we would see the end of this boss, but I think today, and just considering the prog that the other guilds have gotten as well as us, I'm with you. I think it goes down.
I think it's more of a question of volume of pulls.
Yeah.
You're going to need to be able to commit probably somewhere in the order of like 80 to 100 pulls on this boss to be able to actually take it out minimum. I think that there's a world where it's like a 150 pull boss, which in that case it doesn't die today.
I don't know. Can you see how many pulls Echo has on Rocketmonger?
They probably have around 80
can.
At this point.
Let me see.
I'm kind of curious. I'll use what they have to better inform my decision. You might be right.
That's a little cheese, but I'll allow it.
I'm going to try to get a better educated guess.
Are they Echo Esports, or are they just Echo?
You can always check on our partner Warcraft Logs as they have their race summary.
That's a good point. I'll just go over to just go over there.
See how many pulls. You can see their composition. All kinds of great info.
The competitor mode is elite. We use that
on
every
in Warcraft Logs. Yeah.
Yeah, we use that every day for the race roll first recap videos that Dratnos and I make.
It's really cool to see.
Shout out to TTV Tettles and youtube.com/Dratnos for
Dratnos.
the
Ooh, bit of a side note, but it's cool to see Warcraft Logs go from this just like data website that's like, you know, to what they are right now. All of the tools that they developed recently.
Oh, I feel like it's always like a really good community. Logs are a great community tool.
I agree.
I remember World of Logs. It was a nightmare.
Oh yeah, the Thoughtbot. Shout out. All right, so Echo is at 21%, is their best pull at 87 pulls.
Hey.
Of course, we've got Liquid Method.
Tettles' prognostication's looking quite a lot better. That's why I didn't want to say. I didn't want to, you know.
I think there's a world where it's a 150 pull boss. I think that there's like you could kill it with an 80 to 100 though.
Okay.
Which in that case, it's like really difficult to go down today.
Method is at 54.7% at 23 pulls.
Interesting.
So they had more pulls, and a higher percent.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let me know how many pulls it took Echo for Styx Bunk Junker.
I sure can, Jack.
Dude, they annihilated that
They were
boss.
at...
Right.
They did. Actually, Method really annihilated that boss. They were at like 71 pulls for Styx Bunk Junker.
Exactly.
Method did a really great job on that boss.
A lot of times, the first guild to kill it has quite a bit more pulls.
Yeah, but I feel like that's a boss. I agree, but like that's the boss that you can't really watch another guild and be like, oh, I know how to do it now. I feel like that's a practice. Like you just got to do it.
So what I think is, since Echo got the most time on Sprocketmonger, and they've invested a ton of pulls, they're in the 80 mark. I actually think it's going to take less than 80 pulls for Liquid to get it down.
Total?
Yep. I think we are. I mean, they could do another 60 pull. Like, for example, it's been, I don't know, an hour and a half, something like that, since we got on.
You do about 100 pulls a day.
You know? It's been about an hour and a half. We've done a grand total of like 5 or 6 pulls, and they've made vast amounts of progress.
They're also kind of taking their time between pulls while they're still figuring it out. I do expect at a certain point them to just start rapid pulling.
Right. As they start figuring the last remaining sort of pieces out, absolutely. But I think that we're looking at like around 80 pulls or so for a kill out of Liquid. There's my theory.
Do you think it's going to die in tonight?
They really come alive around dinner time.
Yeah.
You know, the hunger sets in. They smell the Italian pot roast we're going to have for dinner tonight, and then desire.
It smells so good.
Oh,
Can
beta
you
launch.
smell that?
Maybe it'll be like before dinner, but if not, it could be like right after dinner.
Smacked going down.
It's not too bad.
Yep.
See, they have a Convoke and Flourish just got used by Nick right there.
This fight's a little bit cursed. If you die not on the platform, you actually can't get battle rezzed.
Yes.
Which is
pretty rough.
I don't feel like it's intended, but it certainly is a thing that happens on this boss.
My browser died. I'm still working on it, Jack. I don't know. Chat, how many pulls was it for Styx for Echo?
Wait, you just said. You said like 70.
No, that was Echo, or that was Method, yeah.
Echo had a really low wipe at around like full 60. I wouldn't be shocked if they were like 70 or 80.
They were definitely, yeah, they were less than Liquid for sure.
Ooh, that's a new tip. Let's try a little experiment.
You have a retort?
Understandable.
Yes?
Understandable.
But that is what's happening for lunch today, and I can smell it, and it smells great, and I am excited for that.
5, 4. Oh, I know. We have the Italian beef sandwiches or something like that.
It's a roast beef sandwich, I think.
Oh no, it's the pork sandwiches for lunch.
Yeah.
And then a pot roast for dinner.
Pot roast for dinner.
That's right.
It smells very good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Italian beef. Shout out Chicago.
Is that a Chicago thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, you live there now, huh?
Food of his homeland.
Dude, the food in Chicago, side note, is insane. You live in the best place for food, Tettles. I'm jealous.
I agree. Somebody asked me the other day, how's the food in Chicago? And I said, I think it's one of the best, if not the best food city in the U.S.
I tend to agree.
Nice.
That's where the bear is for a reason, right? They filmed that show there. Have you not seen that show?
Nope.
I was asking Tettles.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The bear?
I literally wake up, I play World of Warcraft, I watch World of Warcraft, and then I go to bed.
Okay, well, you should watch the bear.
You ever stare out your window? Look at the view.
No.
His stream does.
Too busy looking at the gaming monitor.
His stream does behind him while he's looking at his gaming monitor.
Too busy looking at my gaming monitor.
Look at these pull predictions.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, 74, Jack.
Commentator self-glazing.
Yeah, somebody's got to.
Look at me, I just picked a number between 1 and 100 that I thought it was.
I made an educated guess.
Based
okay?
on what?
Based off doing the PCR testing. I was there.
I was there too.
Yeah, why is your last prediction so bad then?
Oh.
I think the boss was really unproggable during PTR testing. It was lagging. Like,
well, that might mean it's pretty tough.
tough on the servers or something. Like, what do you want?
Drag him, Jack. Drag him. This is a question I think Tettles is tired of answering.
He is.
I thought the entire raid was going to be easier because Nair Bar was so hard. That's literally it.
I think that's fine.
They literally came out in interviews and said the raid was too hard. Okay,
I mean, you gotta.
Doesn't mean they're gonna change things.
You have to base it. I get it. I get it.
Remember all that talks about borrowed power, and you know how long it took them to change things.
You know what? My bad. I should have. They were like, yeah, the raid was too hard. That was maybe.
Let's do it again.
That curve was a bit steep. You're actually right. And then they're just like, yeah, we'll run it back.
No, okay. To be fair to them, they were like, yeah, Sikrin was way too easy, so they made Boss 4 hard.
That's not.
I know. I know.
So much wrong with like the thought process of yeah. So the jump between Roshanon and Brutister was too steep. You're actually right. Roshanon should have been harder. You know what? What if instead we moved it and made Sikran 100 full boss too?
I know. Listen, it makes sense in that it doesn't make sense. Okay.
You know, once I tried to stop trying to figure out other people's thought process behind something, I became a much more peaceful individual.
They did not intend to make Styx Bunk Junker 115 pull boss. I will. That is a money back guarantee that was not intentional. That it just ended up turning into that because they added so many pass fail mechanics and they didn't recognize that it was going to be as hard as it is.
I
can agree with that.
For a lot of encounters, they don't know how many pulls they're going to be.
I think it's difficult to tell because unless you are literally like a top. Even like you don't even have to be necessarily a Race World First Raider, but you have to be like a Hall of Fame Raider to be able to like appropriately tell how hard some of these bosses are going to be once you start pulling them. And it's just ridiculous because Instant Dollars and Fat Shark Yes both stopped pulling Styx Bunk Junker because it's literally impossible to kill without triple Moonkin, triple Shadow Priest.
Right, and part of that is also very goofy tuning of...
Like,
it is. Like, if
it's a great term.
Territorial bombshells did not have so much freaking health, it would not be a factor at all.
They also
straight up, like, you would be able to burn the bombshells below 80%, 75, whatever it is. They would detach from their garbage. They'd get into the melee meat grinder. They'd evaporate. It's literally like a health thing on the bombshells, and a quantity as well.
There's also the pass-fail of hitting the bombshell with the trash rolling mechanic. Here's my thought process on this entire thing. I think it's like... The fight is supposed to be this cool fight where you get to roll around on trash, and I think that almost all of the difficulty of the fight should be picking up the trash on the ground, that way it does less damage to your group, and killing the Scrap Master before it one-shots somebody with the Recycler cast. I think that should be the difficulty. Instead, the difficulty is not hitting territorial bombshells and hitting them to 75% HP so they can actually get out of the ground, and there's a tight damage check to actually be able to kill it within 30 seconds.
Yeah, it is kind of unfortunate, that it's a really cool design boss and it got overshadowed by like that miss.
Tuning. Yeah, it's just like a weird. They just added this weird pass-fail to it, where a guild like Automatic Jax is never killing this boss. Maybe once you get 15% of the damage amp from the for the Galagio loyalty.
You hear this guy?
Put
What
some
an
respect on
elitist.
Incarnate's name. Come on now. Come on now.
Your guild would die before they killed the boss.
You don't even have a guild,
Yeah, you don't
sir.
even have a. Yeah.
And
Let's go.
That was a very aggressive high
Sorry,
five.
I was very excited.
If anything, that just makes me more relatable with Twitch chat.
Okay.
Yes, you are a chatter.
That's right.
That is for sure.
Honestly valid. I'll give you that.
You know what I think? I think every dog has its day. Today, this is my day. When you guess next time around that the tier's going to be
Just
easy,
let 'em cook.
Eventually the tier will be easy, and then you'll have your day.
I think he's just talking. I actually don't even think he's saying anything.
You've been talking most of the time. I barely got a word in edgewise.
Yeah, I might do some LFR later for this one if you want to join me, Tettles, since you're on. He's
up anyways.
His face just contorted in disgust.
Ew, LFR.
Oh yeah, I don't want to do LFR.
That's not Mythic Plus. I only like group sizes of 5.
Dude, I raided. I killed Heroic Gallywix. Let's relax.
Nice. Oh, was that with the
Slay
rat group?
No, I killed it with Might.
Oh, nice. Well, Squishy always has been a very generous soul.
Let's relax.
We love Squishy.
The Wowhead Squishy?
Yeah. He's the GM of Might.
Oh, I did not know that. Was not aware.
Big fan.
Shout out Might. Shout out Squishy.
That's Squishy. And Wowhead, our partner.
Informative guy. Yeah. And
Hey,
a
Echo got
smart
to
partner.
17%.
Oh yeah, I do have their stream open. OK Mage said chat is cute, and I'm going to include myself in that.
Aww.
OK Mage just call me cute.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Yep, they
That's
are.
other chatter glazing.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was OK Mage glazing me.
Oh. Well.
Nice. Happy for you.
Congratulations.
Happy for you. Yeah. Big fan. Let's give it up for poll 22.
Poll number 22.
What are the hard parts of this fight so far that you've been seeing, Jack?
I think it's really having a few different times where people are not used to the polarity combinations.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with the fight, there are only 21 pulls in, and I say only because there's polarity changes, I want to say every like 30 or 45 seconds. I think it's around 45 seconds they color swap. You can see at the top right of Yips's POV. And then you have to get used to whether or not you swap colors because it's not a guarantee. And so I think there's a little bit of like confusion sometimes about where they want to position, and they have to just get used to, oh, okay, we're getting knocked back at this point. This is how we're getting knocked back. This is where I adjust my position, and here's how I'm going to deal with it. I think that's probably been one of the big frustrations, and they just have to, it's like a rep problem. They have to just get enough pulls in to see it and then get used to where they're going to be every single time.
Yeah.
And then I think they've done a really good job of dealing with the first of the beta launches, and after that, it empowers the beam turrets, and they're going to be massive, and so then you basically start limiting a lot of your options. Sort of like a decision tree in a lot of other games, where you have less and less options for how you position, how you move, and as time goes on, you can look, there's an entire pile of red players with Yips right there. They get knocked back. He gets knocked into a magnet, gets stunned, gets rocketed, and then it's all she wrote.
Somebody with the polarity run into their pile? What happened?
Yes. I think they were being a little greedy, and maybe there were some classes that are doing some channeled abilities where they may have been getting dragged in while they were channeling that ability, and then they got dragged into the pile, and then they just knock everybody back, and then there's a problem. Bad news bears. But they do have a good positioning there. Everyone's really healthy for this intermission phase at the very least. The only healing cooldown they have at this point is Convoke into Flourish for this intermission healing, and they've done a great job of just stabilizing from the extra deaths they had going on. But they are down one healer, so it might be a little bit sketchier. Not at the next set of mines, but the one afterwards. This set of mines they're going to have series ramp for, and they should be hard chilling. The ones after, though, that'll be a little bit scarier.
How often do you have like a fat Radiance ramp?
If he's playing Oracle, every minute and a half.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I would say, in general, a minute and a half, because you can play Void Weaver and also have really strong minute and a half timers.
Gotcha.
Yep. The areas around here, though, he basically covered the entirety of that damage going off of the bombs. He's doing like 4 mil HPS at this point because he's the only one ramping at those points. But the next set of mines is going to be really ridiculous because I believe that's when they were going to have Dryne's Yu'lon ramp to start covering those bases. And that is not nearly as powerful as Disc's minute and a half
You have
timers.
to just die to the void beam? It looked like he was out of it.
Died to some other damage from the Pyro Party Pack.
The PPP, of course.
Tanks actually can pretty easily die on this fight if you're not careful. That tank bomb that he has to run out of the raid with actually does insane damage, and if you blow it up within like a second of blowing up a mine, the tank just dies as well. So you actually have to be super careful in this fight, even as the tank. More often than not, we kind of talk about raid tanking is a little bit sleeper, and there's not really much they can reasonably die to, which more often than not is true. But there's a couple of specific instances on this boss that can kill off your tank.
And not to mention, I think you had mentioned before, after every beta launch intermission, the boss gets a 15% damage buff.
Yeah, exactly. The boss starts to do 30% bonus damage in the final phase as well, which is
insane.
Your health starts to drop rather low rather quickly just from soaking mines.
Do we feel like this is a more melee-friendly boss or a ranged-friendly boss?
I think you just go for like full single target, which happens to be mostly melee.
Okay.
I don't think it's necessarily either.
It feels pretty even.
I think you need a good balance of melee and range. Like there are some mines that are so far from the melee stack that if you had to actually send a melee over there to get them, then it would suck. But at the same point, a lot of the range DPS just are a little bit worse single target than some of their potential melee counterparts. And so, I don't think it's one or the other. It's kind of movement heavy, which maybe makes it a little bit more melee than range friendly, but I think you need a good balance. I don't think you're able to like stack one to the other.
Weak aura updates.
There we go.
What do you think they would change
with weak auras?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be anything that's like major. I think it's probably just going to be like very slight version updates, maybe some changes to the conditions on who's going to be soaking what mine when, changing around some of the orders on some of the preferred people, telling them when to go and soak what mine. It might be something as simple as that because they already have the main framework for what their weak auras are going to be. They have a list that's telling, the players, or probably Max in this case, but the players, who is targeted with what polarity, and then they also have I would describe it as like an overlay that shows who's supposed to be soaking what mine and what position that they can also use to just kind of tell where those mines are and who's supposed to be soaking them. So I don't think that either of those things are going to be changing on like a huge level. I think it's going to be more just like a version update.
4. Makes sense.
3, 2, 1.
Either way, you need mobility. That's that's important.
Well, monks have that in spades, that's for sure.
You need a warlock is what you really need.
Yeah. Just one though. Not two. Just one. This one works.
So they started the fight yesterday with two warlocks because they thought it was going to be a different beta launch pushback. So they basically started the fight with 2 warlocks and progging it, but they changed how the pushback works. So
I think that they were assuming that it would be in like the middle of the room. I think that's how it is on normal. It's a little bit strange.
I think they assumed that it was going to be the PTR one where you got sent all the way back to the entrance.
Oh, maybe.
Which that made sense with the polarity mechanic because you can guarantee that you weren't going to be stacked accidentally on somebody of the wrong color. But they changed it. And the first time I actually saw it was changed, it was during Heroic Week. I was like really surprised that it got changed.
Yeah, it's a strange adjustment, but it's one that I think is easier to play around in a lot of regards because you can start aiming your character, but I guess it would put a lot more personal responsibility out rather than, hey everybody, we got knocked back, hit the gateway.
Either way, things are looking nice. Gonna be getting in that repetition.
And the cool thing is, there's a lot of familiar mechanics to Heroic too.
Yeah.
And so you're gonna see like the beam turrets, of course, filing off of the field and everything, but they're getting the magnets in the middle of the room, getting those into position before they start having the next round of Sonic Ba-Boom, just doing some regular AoE damage, which of course is going to amplify after each of the beta launches, and you got to deal with those magnets and rocket dodges.
Can you nether walk the beta launch?
The damage.
The damage part of it?
You're still going to get pushed.
Yeah.
Nether sucks. It doesn't make you...
Yeah, it's kind of useless.
Windrush Totem.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's still a talent, too, that you have to spec into.
Oh gosh, I don't even remember anymore. I don't.
What?
For some reason, I thought they changed it to make it baseline dragon. Maybe it is a talent.
I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it's still a talent.
Maybe it was a talent that was a big damage loss at the beginning of Dragonflight, and then it no longer was a damage loss after that rework.
I don't know. Maybe someone in chat knows. I can look it up. Let's see.
It's not my wheelhouse.
Yep. Why? You don't want to play Havoc? It's fun. You gonna go zip zip? You like your angelic feathers.
Jack's kind of
much, right?
Definitely not.
Jack's kind of a noob. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. Just play healer.
Yeah, I already said you were a noob. They already knew.
Whoa. What class do you play most besides Balanced Druid, Tuttles?
I'll play any in the range.
Okay. Would you have a favorite?
Yeah, Balanced Druid.
Okay, besides
Tuttles, you like this thing you've made for like 10 years?
Besides Balanced Druid. Oh, nice. Way to intentionally misunderstand my question. Besides Balanced Druid.
I like Destro Warlock. Destro Warlock's sick.
Destro Warlock, okay.
Did you actually like augmentation, or did you just do it for invites?
So here's my thought process. World of Warcraft is a fun game to play, but it is really, really hard to play World of Warcraft because getting into groups and getting invites is like a bigger piece of the battle than actually playing the game.
Yeah.
I thought AUG was all right. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I didn't really want to play it for the 4th consecutive season, so I'm glad that it got nerfed.
Yeah.
I played it almost purely so that I got invites, and let me tell you, oh boy, I got invites.
Had a good time? Well, now you're getting invites again. I hear people are trying to recruit you.
To raid?
Yeah, to raid.
Oh boy.
Bunk job.
An invite is an invite.
No, they're just using me.
True.
It's not an invite, they're just using me. It's different.
They just want you for your damage profile, for your body, not for who you really are.
They just want me for my Starfall, but not my Star Surge.
That's true. Yeah, you would get hard benched on this fight. That's for sure.
If you don't want me at my Star Surge, you don't get me at my Starfall.
Do you ever play Feral?
He just goes feral.
If it's OP. I have in the past, yeah. It's just very rare because it kind of sucks.
I was gonna say Feral isn't. I personally cannot remember the last time a Feral was like needed.
I played it in Dragonflight Season 1 a lot. It was
for Mythic Plus or raiding?
For Mythic Plus. It was really good in Dragonflight Season 1. I learned it a little bit for raid in Amir Jasil because it was better than Moonkin that season. So I learned it and played it a little bit in raid in Amir Jasil. And then I might end up learning it to play it in Theater Pain this season.
Okay.
But I mostly stay to range DPS. I'll play Feral if I have to.
There you go.
I love the wizards.
It's funny. I was already thinking about like making sure I branched out with other specs going into the War Within because I was like, well, we've had
instead of playing Holy, you play Priest or Disc Priest.
No, I've been playing both for a while.
Sorry. That was just...
But I was like, okay, like what if Priest's not going to be good in keys? I got to make sure I get invites because it's tough. Beginning of Season 1, nobody wanted to invite Disc right before they got that Omega buff. Started playing Shaman. I was only getting invites on Shaman. And then Disc preseason.
The best thing you can do to get invites is be very flexible with what you play.
Yep.
Which sucks because that's how literally nobody wants to play this game.
Oh, yeah.
That's the best thing that you can do if you really care.
Well, one of the coolest things about WoW has always been that class identity. But then the nature of M+ kind of goes against that.
Yeah, I mean...
Rating's a bit better for it, I would argue, though.
Yeah,
unless you're at super high level.
I tend to agree with that. It's one of those things that Mythic Plus, it's kind of like there's always going to be somebody who's higher IO than you on a better specialization than you.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to... especially this is especially true if you're pugging in LFG. It's just so hard to get invites, just in general, so you need to be playing Fodom if you're going to purely be an LFG player. And that's why generally my best advice is to find a couple of friends. It doesn't even have to be a full 5-stack, but if you can find one, maybe even 2 friends that you're playing with consistently, it goes a long way.
100%. And just also try to socialize more with some of the people that you're playing with.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I always tell people, like, invite the best player at the end of a run. Or friend the best player at the end of the run, you know?
That's
you
smart.
never know when you're going to run into them again and want to play with them again.
Do you write down notes so you can remember who they are?
I used to, but I lost track.
Yeah.
I still have a bunch of, like, EU friends, and I have to, like, double-check. Like, how did I meet this person again?
Yeah, they increased the cap on it, I think, from 200, right?
Right.
4?
Something that I still will probably manage to fill up eventually.
Oh, we get it. We have friends. Okay, yeah.
No, I
Popular.
just...
That's crazy that she said that about
Man.
Oh, it's so tough.
Man, it's not easy out here.
I'm choosing not to respond. I'm just going to look at the poll. I'm just gonna pretend you guys aren't here. It's just me.
Okay.
Just me in chat. Hey guys.
Hi, chat.
Well, since we've got a moment here, I do want to give a mention to, of course, our charity partner, the Pasadena Humane Society. We're still raising money. We're still taking a look at UIs as well. We are narrowing down our next goal. We are currently at $10,600 to our $25,000 goal. And we've got a couple of donations that came in from this morning. Healbot, $50. Let's win this race liquid. And Jessica, $35. And Jessica sent in a picture of her axolotl, and I'm very excited for that. It even says Heart Aya.
Aw.
I'm ready for that. So thank you so much. And we will be reviewing that.
3, 2, 1. Soon TM.
Soon TM.
Soon TM. All right, when do you think they have their new best pull?
Oh, you're asking Tettles.
Whomever.
I think he was just asking.
Just chatting.
Thought he was turned towards you.
You can slam the answer first.
Their new best pull. I feel like, I don't know, it just depends on how many reps they can get on the...
You taking the over or the under on 3 pulls?
Why don't you go first then? It sounds like you have an idea in your head.
Take the over.
I'll do... I might shoot a little higher. I'll go 10 pulls. 10 pulls new best. Jack?
I think this is their best pull coming up.
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
Stir the pot.
Yeah, you think they had a little break there and had a little discussion and that kind of reinvigorated them?
I think it's pretty, I think it's pretty reasonable. It's more just like progression on this fight comes in chunks, and it's not something that's like a consistent progression thing, where there's a lot of situations that they continue to need to see over and over again and re-see in a new spot, because everybody's going to have different polarity mechanics at different times, and just one person making a minor mistake can actually wipe your entire raid.
Yep.
As you see 4 people going down there.
Yeah, not looking good.
I think might be faltering a little bit.
Yeah. There's still hope.
Fair
I really just should have taken the under.
Yeah.
Should have been so specific.
Really embarrassing for you, Jack. You can just keep changing it though every time they wipe. Be like, okay, now it's this one. You can, be,
yeah,
you can be that guy. You can be the hopium guy.
I think
this is the poll.
I think again, it's just one of those things that progression isn't like a constant, steady thing.
It's not linear with this boss for sure.
Exactly. It's just something that happens in bursts, which is totally fine. You just have to temper your expectations a little bit.
Yeah.
Then once you do have that new best, you're like, oh my god, this is so hype.
Because do you feel like Tettles, this is going to be one of those bosses where it's just like significant chunks at a time rather than just sort of withering away because of these, I don't want to say pass-fail mechanics, but you know, the ones that they kind of have to find that hump over.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the situation we have right here. So they're 46.75%. The next big break point that they have to do to actually see continue progression is the second beta launch sequence. That's going to happen, and the bosses are going to be around probably like the 35, maybe 33-ish% HP threshold. And so once we get to that, then we'll be able to see the boss, you know, again, reaching that 35, 33-ish%. So that's the next big chunk that's going to kind of come off the boss there. And again, it happens in like 10% increments almost.
Oh, you know, I wonder if we get a break, we could see like the RaiderIO boss progress that they have, like we saw for Styx.
Yeah.
And then we might be able to see the exact numbers where Echo had before. So I wonder how similar...
the overtime graph.
Yeah, like the jumps that they're going to have in terms of their progression.
4, 3.
Yeah, huge shout out to RaiderIO for those graphs that we're seeing during the morning show. We get to see the top 3 guilds in kind of comparison to the amount of pulls that it took them to get in relation to health taken off of the boss, progress taken off of the boss. Is that something they do live?
Yeah, I think it's
automated or
it's automated from Warcraft Logs.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, we gave them a shout out earlier, so now I'm just giving RaiderIO a shout out. You know.
No, I get that.
Gotta give them both love.
Yeah.
A lot of great resources for the game in general. I don't know of any other game that has this many resources.
I was just
never
thinking
really
that.
do much research.
Yeah, but I don't.
Wowhead was owned by Blizzard when it first started the game.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, they kind of post the official updates enough that it kind of feels like they should be. I think WoW is definitely a game where, like, no, I don't know because I don't play enough games, but it seems like WoW is the most reliant game on third-party sources to disseminate information.
Yeah.
that
I've ever seen.
Yes.
You could literally not play World of Warcraft without some of the third-party. I mean, you could just at a very rudimentary level.
Yep. Well, one of them that is less known is called lorgs.io.
Okay.
It's LORRGS.io.
Wait. Hold on. What is this?
Oh my! Hilarious.
Oh no.
Yeah. And a really big thing for it is it shows you the cooldowns for the top 50 logs.
Whoa.
And so, obviously, you don't want to just copy the first thing you see.
Yeah.
It's really good to understand, like, trends, certain encounters. You know, the healers use their cooldowns here. DPS use their cooldowns there. The reasons why they use the cooldowns at those points. You can kind of compare and contrast before you walk into boss fights. And it kind of helps you study and understand, oh, okay, this is what other people before me have done.
People are saying Path of Exile is worse.
Oh, it could be.
It's. I know that you basically needed to do a build since their talent tree is so complicated, but I mean, does that game rely on third-party websites to push out like community updates?
Maybe people do because they don't want to run like a bad build.
I think the thing with WoW that's so jank is the absence of, like, everything gets data mined through WoW.
Yeah.
Everything is data mined through Wowhead, and in World of Warcraft, you know, they do slam blue posts and have some official notes on stuff, but there's so many things that are changed, like spell data-wise, that just aren't posted by Blizzard.
Yeah.
And then it's just
yeah.
only hear about it via Wowhead.
Yeah,
oh my god.
That's my point. That's my point. I don't mean like, you know, optimizing your class. I mean like literally what's going on with the game. You can only find out through third-party websites. I don't think Path of Exile is the same. Their actual website, the pathofexile.com or whatever, is really informative on community updates.
Either way,
I'm looking at it right
it's
now.
one of them, you know.
They've got a news page in their front page. But I don't know. I'm not ingrained enough in the Path of Exile community. But Zyro is I don't know. Zyro, you're in the chat. Let us know, buddy.
I think WorldOfWarcraft.com also has news on their front page, but it's just not very useful.
Yeah, it's
We've made updates.
Here's a pet you can buy.
Yep.
The Brutosaur's on sale, $950.
The sales they're very good at.
Yeah, you want patch notes, you want hot fixes, you're going to Wowhead. But that could be now. I could be wrong.
Yeah, my $90 store mount though. That's
Did you buy it?
Well, of course.
Okay.
It's kind of like how I also have a 12-month sub. Dude, they've got me roped in.
They got you down.
They know that I'm just yeah, they know I'm incapable of saying no.
What did you call those chatters of yours, Aya? Didn't you have a name for them?
Pay pigs.
Yeah.
What a pay pig.
Yeah. In a sense you are.
To who? John Blizzard? Like,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
Corporate America.
Yeah.
Please let me play your game so I can pay my monthly $16 to do my chores, and I can get a pet for being subscribed for 6 months at a time.
Okay. Hey, they cut down on the chores.
Please, Blizzard, please keep nerfing my class, Blizzard. Please, I'll give you money.
They cut down on those chores.
If you just treat me a little better, please. I play balanced druid. Be easy on me, Blizzard. Here, take my money.
I'm
Am I wrong?
You're gonna crash out.
You can't even say I'm wrong because we're in the same boat over here, buddy.
It's not an addiction I could quit anytime.
Okay. Same.
What if the imbalance of specs
I was like, where are we going with
is
this?
on purpose?
I think it is on purpose.
So that all the people that are used to maining one thing and only playing one thing are now like forced to reroll.
You actually don't. Okay, well, I don't think it's like that.
I know.
You actually don't.
Chatting.
Like, players genuinely do not want the game to be balanced. It sounds a little bit crazy. Blizzard could perfectly balance their game to have all of the specializations, all the classes do the exact damage. Hold on, let me cook for a second. You give me a weird look.
Sorry.
Blizzard could absolutely balance all their specializations and classes to the exact same amount of damage, but it's not fun when a game is super balanced. It's really fun when a game is imbalanced. The problem is like the gradient of which, like how wide some of the specs are balanced relative to one another. That's where the problems start to arise. I also think that the re-rolling thing that you mentioned, a lot of that is community driven. You know, as time has gone on, you know, this wasn't really a thing in 2016 and 2017 where there was no expectation of you to like re-roll. Yeah. But as the accessibility of to information, as you know, guides have gotten better on things like Wowhead, as Discord has popularized being able to just get information like at a snap of the finger. Exactly. There's a lot of one-stop shops for a lot of class information. The thought process of like, why am I even playing this game if I'm not trying my absolute hardest is something that is continuing to like trend forward in gaming in general, but also just
heavily in the World of Warcraft space, and to the point where, you know, there was a trending video a few months ago where it was like, why it's impolite to suck at World of Warcraft.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people like genuinely feel that way and they play that way because you're wasting their time. Like,
oh yeah,
if you suck or you're playing something that sucks, you are wasting their time.
Well, something else that because I dabble in Final Fantasy XIV also, and I think those communities have a lot of similarities, but also have a lot of differences in the sense that I get told constantly by Final Fantasy players how toxic WoW players are. But to that I say, first of all, not true. They're just a little bit more